A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio. A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Annie, what are you doing here?
I was just about to ask you the same thing. Say, did you get a phone call, too?
Yeah, I just got the tip to get down here to the Blue Note right away.
Yeah, so did I. I wonder what it's all about.
Search me.
Well, come on in. Let's go and find out.
Okay. Hey, wait a minute. Hold on. You hear that?
Yeah, the police car.
Look down the street. There it is. It's coming this way, too.
Something must be up there really traveling. Hey, it's stopping here.
Logan.
Captain Logan.
Casey, Miss Williams. How'd you get here so soon?
What do you mean? What's up?
Can't I go anywhere without you two beating me there?
Oh, so you got the tip, too.
Yeah. I got a call to get down here to the Blue Note and fast.
Well, maybe the criminal's still in there.
Let Logan go first, Annie.
Yeah, I'll get my gun ready. Now, follow me. Stand back when I open the door.
Everything's quiet. No music. No piano.
Let's go in.
There's Herman Chittison by the piano.
Look at him. He's not moving. Somebody must be holding a gun on him from behind the bar.
Woof, woof. 1, 2, 3.
You hear that?
Woof, woof.
It's Ethelbert.
Hey, Ethelbert must have gone crazy.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe a dog bit him, a mad dog.
Woof, woof, woof. 1, 2, 3. Woof.
Look, there he is. Near the back of the bar. Hey, Ethelbert.
Woof, woof. 1, 2, 3. Woof, woof.
Hey, look. There's a man back there with a bag of tools.
That's the crook. Stick him up, you. I got you covered.
Hey, wait a minute, Captain Logan. He ain't no crook.
Well, who is he?
He's Bill Pearson, the engineer the Columbia Broadcasting System sent over to put in this microphone.
Microphone?
Yeah, this little thing here. That engineer told me to keep saying woof 1, 2, 3 into it. That's what they used to test with.
Oh, Ethelbert, so that's it.
What is this, anyhow? What's going on around here?
That's what I'd like to know.
Why, didn't Tony Marvin tell you?
Nobody tells me anything.
Oh, here he comes now. Hello, Mr. Marvin.
Hiya. Hi. Hello, Casey. Miss Williams.
Hi,
Captain
Johnny.
Logan.
Johnny.
Uh-huh. Say, am I late, Ethelbert?
No, you're just on time, Mr. Marvin.
On time? Well, what's he on time for?
The broadcast.
Broadcast?
Oh.
Yeah, now, look. Let's have some of that Blue Note music, Herman. Sort of get in the mood.
I still don't get it.
Well, look, I'll tell you. You see, our sponsor, Anchor Hocking, is having a convention today, and they all want to meet you. So we're going to broadcast from the Blue Note here directly to Lancaster, Ohio.
So that's what all this microphone business is about.
Yep. And now here's the setup. I'm going to introduce each of you to the boys out in Lancaster, and I want you to say hello to them. Say, have you got the line through to Lancaster, Bill?
All set whenever you're ready, Tony. Wait just a second.
Huh?
I want to comb my hair.
You don't have to do that to broadcast, you dope.
No?
That's when you're having your picture taken.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, here we go. Hello, Lancaster, and all you good people of the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation. This is Tony Marvin speaking from the Blue Note Cafe. We have most of the members of the Crime Photographer cast with us, and I'd like to introduce them to you. First of all, I'd like you to meet the fellow who plays Casey, Stotts Cotsworth, a great actor and a great salesman for Anchor Hocking.
Thank you, Tony. How do you do, Anchor Hocking? Well, this is kind of a surprise to me, but all kidding aside, I'm mighty glad to have this opportunity to talk to you. I wish I could be with you out there in person. Well, I guess the only thing that I have that most other salesmen for Anchor Hocking don't have is a chance to call regularly on 35 million people.
That's right. Crime Photographer is reaching regularly more than 1/4 of the 140 million people in the United States.
And the way I figure it is that practically all of those people are prospects for the containers and closures that Anchor Hocking makes and that you fellas sell. The people that I call on may not buy by the carload or even by the gross, but their everyday purchases of foods and beverages and medicines and household products packed in glass and sealed with anchor hocking caps are what make it possible for manufacturers to buy containers and caps by the carload. And remember, your crime photographer program has barely gotten started. We've been building up slowly to the time when we'd have a real selling job to do. Well, as I understand it, that time is here.
Right, Stotts. That time is here. Competition is back. People are shopping around for things again. They're not just buying what they can find.
Well, I suspect that goes for manufacturers as well as the people we talk to directly on the radio. That situation calls for selling. Selling against other types of containers and against other manufacturers of glass containers and metal and molded closures. You can count on us as radio salesmen for Anchor Hocking to do our level best to try and keep up with the swell job that you're doing as direct salesman for Anchor Hocking. Now, if Tony Marvin will let me, I'd like to present our leading lady, a charming actress and a charming person, Miss Jan Miner, who plays the part of Ann Williams.
Thanks, Stotts. Although I've talked to a lot of people over the air, this is the first time I've ever talked to a sales convention. But I'm awfully glad to be here. And hello, Anchor Hocking. The part of Ann in Crime Photographer was originated by Leslie Woods, one of the finest actresses in radio. And not so many weeks ago, she got herself married to a young architect and sailed for Europe. All of which is by way of explanation why I am on your program, Crime Photographer. And it's really wonderful for me because Crime Photographer is not only one of the absolutely top shows now on the air, but we all believe that it's going even farther. And as Stotts Cotsworth told you, we reach regularly more than 35 million people. And that's a little awe-inspiring. It gives us two great responsibilities. One, to give those people clean, decent, and amusing entertainment. And two, to get sales results for our sponsor. All of us feel these responsibilities deeply and shall try never to let anyone down. And now here's Tony Marvin again.
Well, I'd like to add that Jan Miner herself is one of the loveliest girls and one of the finest actresses in radio. And now, here's the host of the Blue Note Cafe in person, that rare philosopher, John Gibson, whom you know as Ethelbert.
Hey, Ethelbert, you're on. You're on.
Yeah, Casey. What do you have? Your usual?
Ethelbert, we're broadcasting. Tony just introduced you. Where have you been?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, what? Oh, I was just back opening a bottle of beer for Captain Logan.
Oh, so the lug couldn't wait. Here, Ethelbert, can you reach the mic? Say hello to the Anchor Hocking folks out in Lancaster.
Yeah, Casey, I can lean over the bar. Hiya, fellas. What should I say?
Anything. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. Oh, yeah, I want to say that any time any of you is in the vicinity of the Blue Note Cafe, I hope you'll stop in and let me set 'em up on the house. We got milk, if you like that, and then we got that cool, pleasant beverage that comes in the new one-way bottle I've been hearing so much about. And I want you to know there's only one kind of beer you can buy here, and that's bottled beer.
Hello, Ethelbert.
Hello. Hello, Grace. Shh, we're broadcasting.
Well, why don't you call her over to say a few words, Ethelbert?
You think it'll be all right?
Sure.
Grace? I guess she's gone on back to the... Oh, they don't want to hear her anyway. Oh, yes, what I wanted to say, there's one point no one has mentioned so far, and that's how much fun we get playing together every week. That's what some people call teamwork. Now, take Herman Chittison, our pianist. He has his own program on the air every Saturday night. He makes a lot of records, and you have to pay $2 for a scotch to hear him at the nightclubs. But he started out on the air here at the Blue Note. And he's such a loyal guy, and he likes it so well here that you just couldn't keep him away. You want to talk some more now, Mr. Marvin? I guess that's about all I have to say.
Oh, thanks, Ethelbert. Yes, we still have to hear from Bernard Lenrow, known to you people at Anchor Hocking and the radio audience as Captain Logan, chief of the homicide squad. And now that he's finished that bottle of beer, how about a few words, Bertie?
Yes, Tony. I do want to add my greetings to the Anchor Hocking Convention. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say that all of us of the Crime Photographer program will do our best to keep Anchor Hocking the most famous name in glass.
Thanks, Bernard Lenrow, and thanks, everyone. Say, Stotts.
Yeah, Tony.
Have you got your camera with you?
Oh, have I, Tony?
Well, look, while we're all here together, why don't you take a picture of us and we can send some copies of it out to Anchor Hocking?
Sure, that's a good idea.
That's a swell idea, Tony.
Stotts, you've got a self-timer on your speed graphic, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you can get in the picture, too.
Oh, don't worry. I'll get in it, Tony. Look, why don't we all get over here around the piano? Herman can be playing, and we'll all stand around him.
Mm-hmm. Right. Look, I don't know if you people at Anchor Hocking know it or not, but Stotts Cotsworth is quite an amateur photographer in real life as well as playing a photographer on the air. So while he's setting up his camera, why don't we listen to a little music from Herman Chittison? It's all yours, Herman. I guess Stotts has that picture by now. So this is Tony Marvin saying goodbye on behalf of John Dietz, the director, Alonzo Dean Cole, the writer, Archie Blyer, who conducts the Anchor Hocking Orchestra, and the entire cast of Crime Photographer, Anchor Hocking's own radio show. Literally, thousands of housewives have asked us for a Fire King oven glass roaster big enough to take a good-sized leg of lamb or a rib roast of beef, sturdy yet beautiful, as is all Fire King oven glass, and priced for people who know a bargain when they see it. Well, here it is, the new Fire King oven glass covered roaster. You can watch the roast without lifting the cover, and this special kind of oven glass comes clean in a jiffy. You'll find the Fire King oven glass roaster tomorrow morning at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store, and its price is incredibly low. Yes, this big Fire King roaster, complete with cover, costs only $1 in most parts of the country and only a few cents more west of the Rockies. It's well worth a special trip to the store. You'll recognize it immediately by its pale blue color, and I know you'll be glad to hear that, like all Fire King oven glass, this big new roaster is guaranteed for a full 2 years against oven breakage. Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. I hope you had a dinner tonight as delicious as the one I had before I came to the studio. Here's what happened at my house.
Really, Dorothy, I don't know when I've tasted such delicious roast beef.
Oh, thank you, Mother.
I hope I can take some credit for teaching you to cook.
Oh, I do give you all the credit in the world. But some credit has to go to my new kind of roaster.
A new kind of roaster?
Yes. It's made from that wonderful Fire King oven glass. The heat-resistant oven glass Tony tells us about on the Crime Photographer program.
Oh.
Why, it absorbs oven heat so thoroughly and evenly that it's almost impossible to make a mistake.
Well, I should think it would be an enormous advantage to use glass for roasting, because you don't have to lift up the cover to see whether the roast is browning.
Yes, and not only that, this special kind of glass comes clean in a jiffy.
Was it very expensive?
Oh, I should say not, Mother. It cost only $1, complete with a Fire King oven glass cover.
Yes, that was one of the most delicious meals I ever ate. And here are a few more things Dorothy and Mother were talking about. This new Fire King oven glass covered roaster is guaranteed for a full 2 years against oven breakage. It's as attractive as it is sturdy and dependable, yet, as Dorothy said, it costs only $1 at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store, and only a few cents more west of the Rockies. Fire King oven glass roasters are now available only in limited quantities, so I would advise you to do your shopping early tomorrow. And remember, Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. I have something here in the studio tonight that I wish every one of you could see. It's a complete set of the new Fire King tableware. and I can't begin to tell you how really beautiful it is. It has an attractive bullseye pattern and a delicate pale blue color. And like your old friend, Fire King Oven Glass, this new Fire King tableware is heat resistant. And the most important point I haven't even touched on. You can buy service for 6 people for only $3.85, and only a few cents more west of the Rockies. 6 cups and saucers, 6 fruit dishes, 6 salad plates, 6 soup plates, 6 big 9 1/4-inch dinner plates, a large vegetable bowl, and a platter 12 by 9 inches. Of course, it's not necessary to buy a complete service. Individual pieces of Fire King tableware cost as little as 10 cents. Yes, I certainly wish you could be here to see this amazing bargain for yourselves. Well, the next best thing is to go down to your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store and see it there. Fire King tableware and Fire King oven glass are both products of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. Now, let's listen in on a conversation which occurred earlier this evening.
Why, Mary, what a lovely dinner service. Is it something new?
I just got it today, Peggy. So many of our old plates and cups have been broken. And up to now, it's been almost impossible to find really attractive dishes to take their place.
Oh, well, this is certainly lovely. I like the pattern and that pale blue color.
And as pretty as it is, it's also heat resistant, which is certainly going to be a help.
Is it expensive?
Oh, absolutely not. Why, this entire service for 6 costs only $3.85.
These young housewives, like thousands of others today, were talking about the sensational new Fire King tableware. A Fire King tableware service for 6 includes 6 cups and saucers, 6 fruit dishes, 6 salad plates, 6 soup plates, 6 big 9 1/4-inch dinner plates, a large vegetable bowl, and a platter 9 by 12 inches. And the cost is only $3.85, and only a few cents more west of the Rockies. Of course, it's not necessary to buy a complete service. Individual pieces of Fire King tableware cost as little as 10 cents. See them tomorrow at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store. Fire King tableware is a product of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. We've told you a lot about Fire King oven glass, how much time and trouble it saves in the kitchen, how beautifully it dresses up your lunch and dinner table. Well, tonight I'd like to talk about a very special Fire King bargain you'll find right now at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, and department stores. It's a big 2-quart covered casserole with a special Fire King oven glass server or serving tray for use in the dining room. The server has 2 convenient handles. It holds the casserole firmly in place with no danger of slipping, and it protects your table from the oven-hot casserole so that it eliminates the inconvenience of table pans. Now, like all Fire King oven glass, this big casserole and server are guaranteed for 2 full years against oven breakage. And here's the best news of all. The cost of this special 3-piece set, including cover, 2-quart casserole, and server, is only $1, and only a few cents more west of the Rockies. You'll find this 2-quart Fire King casserole and server ideal for buffet suppers as well as for other meals. So why not plan next Sunday night's supper around a big casserole dish baked in beautiful, inexpensive Fire King oven glass? Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. And now, may I introduce a young lady who, like most of us today, is out shopping for a bargain.
How much is this Fire King casserole?
Do you mean the 2-quart size with the cover?
Yes.
Well, that's a special right now. It costs only $1 complete.
What do you mean complete?
Well, the price includes not only the casserole and cover, but also the convenient server, which you can use as a serving tray. It keeps the hot casserole from harming your table.
Oh, I see.
It's made so the casserole won't slip. And you'll notice the 2 handles make it easy to carry baked dishes directly from the oven to the dining room.
And it's genuine Fire King oven glass?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And it's guaranteed for 2 years against oven breakage.
That's one of the greatest bargains in years. And because it is such a bargain, I suggest you go to your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store at the earliest possible moment to avoid being disappointed. Remember, the price is only $1, and only a few cents more west of the Rockies. Fire King Oven Glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, a great name in glass. Now, let's look in on a suburban home where two young women are discussing last night's bridge party.
Bill and I both had a marvelous time, Dorothy. And your beer and ale certainly made a hit with the men.
Well, thank you, Jane.
Where did you find those marvelous-looking light beer bottles?
They're absolutely new, but you must have heard about them. They're the new one-way, no-deposit bottle everyone's talking about.
You mean you don't have to make a deposit on them?
No, and you don't have to return them to the store. But that isn't all. You notice how compact they are?
Yes.
Well, they take up practically no room at all in the refrigerator. And, my dear, they chill within a matter of minutes.
Well, they're certainly attractive and easy to pour from.
Yes, and of course they're glass, which is very important to me.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of buying beer or ale in anything but glass.
Neither would I, because I know that glass won't contaminate taste or flavor. Son of a bitch.
To make it.
Wouldn't you know?
Oh, we gotta go.
Hurry, you're hungry.
Well,
I'm glad you did that because I was late. Did that because I was late. Did.
Our story will continue in just a moment.
This is Del Charbot with a message of special importance to you people of California, Oregon, and Washington. We're the first people in America to get a lot of the good things of life. And not the least of these is the amazing new one-way, no-deposit bottle for beer and ale. Right here in California, practically every leading brand is available in the new one-way, no-deposit bottle. And its popularity is rapidly spreading into Oregon and Washington. This new one-way bottle requires no deposit, no return to the store. It's as light as a feather and so compact, it wastes none of your precious refrigerator space. And yet it holds just as much beer and ale as an ordinary bottle. It's the perfect companion to take along on a picnic. And it's at home on the finest table in the land. And remember, it's made of glass. Glass that brings you beer and ale the way it's meant to taste. The way good brewers want you to enjoy it. Beer with no foreign taste or flavor. For better tasting beer, demand it in bottles. For convenience, demand your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle. A product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
You and this house detective went to Solano's rooms right after you phoned me at headquarters, Mr.
Me for a rap in the hot seat.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment.
This is Del Charbot, back again to say how glad I am that our fine West Coast brewers have been so quick to give us the new Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle for beer and ale. It means so much to all of us to enjoy a cool glass of beer at its best. Everyone today knows that beer tastes better, far better, when it comes to you in a glass bottle. For glass never gives beer any foreign flavor. Here's a glass bottle that has all the advantages of glass, but none of its disadvantages. It requires no deposit, no return to the store. Enjoy your beer in a glass or drink directly from the bottle. When it's empty, throw it away. This new one-way bottle is light and sturdy, easy to carry, ideal for picnics. And it takes up amazingly little room in your refrigerator. For flavor, demand beer in bottles. For convenience, demand your favorite brand in the amazing new Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle. A product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
funny, Casey, how Solano was finally got for murder?
Here's the first really exciting news about coffee since the original vacuum pack was announced many years ago. Beech-nut coffee, yes, your old friend Beech-nut, is now available in a new kind of container. A glass container, sealed with a brand new kind of cap, which protects flavor and freshness not only before you open it, but after you open it as well. This new cap is known as the press-on cap, spelled P-R-E-S-O-N, press-on. Now, with the new press-on cap, the flavor of Beech-nut coffee is sealed in a complete vacuum, yet you can open the glass container in a matter of seconds. Simply insert the edge of a dull knife or the end of a spoon under the lid, and pop, it comes off instantly. But that's not the most exciting part of the story. When you have measured out the coffee you plan to use, you can reseal the glass container with the new press-on cap by a slight pressure of your hand. In fact, you can hear it snap back into place, sealing in all the rich goodness of this fine imported coffee. Here's coffee at its best, Beech-nut coffee, brought to you at the peak of flavor in a crystal-clear Anchor glass container with the revolutionary new press-on vacuum cap. Anchor glass containers and press-on Anchor caps are products of the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, a great name in glass. Here's the first really exciting news about coffee since the original vacuum pack was announced many years ago. Beech-nut coffee, yes, your old friend Beech-nut, is now available in a new kind of container. A glass container, sealed with a brand new kind of cap, which protects flavor and freshness not only before you open it, but after you open it as well. This new cap is known as the press-on cap, spelled P-R-E-S-O-N, press-on. Now, with the new press-on cap, the flavor of Beech-nut coffee is sealed in a complete vacuum, yet you can open the glass container in a matter of seconds. Simply insert the edge of a dull knife or the end of a spoon under the lid, and pop, it comes off instantly. But that's not the most exciting part of the story. When you have measured out the coffee you plan to use, you can reseal the glass container with the new press-on cap by a slight pressure of your hand. In fact, you can hear it snap back into place, sealing in all the rich goodness of this fine imported coffee. Here's coffee at its best, Beech-nut coffee, brought to you at the peak of flavor in a crystal-clear Anchor glass container with the revolutionary new press-on vacuum cap. Anchor glass containers and press-on Anchor caps are products of the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, a great name in glass.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Say, Ethelbert, what's today's date?
It's the 17th, Casey.
How do you know?
Because tomorrow's the 18th. It's a famous day.
What do you mean a famous day?
It's the anniversary of the famous ride of Paul Revere.
Did I hear somebody say famous? Why, I was just going to talk about something famous.
Is that so?
Sure, Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Box of Death. O'clock in the morning. A darkened street, deserted. except for a uniformed policeman languidly making his lonely rounds. In the middle of the sidewalk, he sees a large wooden packing case. He stops, reads a stenciled inscription on it, and then angrily enters an apartment building and rings a doorbell marked Superintendent.
Is that you at the door, Fred?
This is a policeman.
Policeman?
Yes, open up.
Just a minute. What is it, officer?
Does Mrs. George Donald live here?
What? I'm Mrs. Donald. You haven't brought me bad news.
I'm giving you a summons for blocking the sidewalk with that big box out there.
Big box?
A wooden packing case. Someone will break his neck on it.
But I don't know anything about a wooden box.
It's got your name on it. Come and see.
Okay. You know, for a moment I was afraid you were here about my husband.
Why should I be here about your husband?
He hasn't come home tonight. I've been waiting for him.
He must be an awful chump to stay out when he's got a wife as young and good-looking as you are.
He doesn't usually stay out.
Say, the super of this house is named Swanson. What are you and your husband doing in this apartment?
Mr. Swanson has rented us a room in his apartment until we can get a place of our own.
The old housing shortage, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's the box, Mrs. Donald. See, it's got your name and address on it.
But I haven't the slightest idea what's in it or who left it here.
This sounds awful screwy to me.
Yes, it does to me, too. Officer, open it and see what's inside.
Yeah, maybe I'd better. It's heavy as it looks.
The lid is loose, just tied down with ropes. Cut the rope, officer. Cut it.
Okay, but what are you acting scared about?
I don't know, but cut that rope quick. Now, lift the lid.
Sure. Holy! A man's inside. A dead man. He's been shot through the head.
It's Fred. My husband. Fred!
Well, then, Captain Logan, I took this girl, this Mrs. Donald, as she called herself, back here to the super's apartment where I got on the phone and called you homicide, Dix. When I got through phoning, I couldn't find the girl. She scrammed out through a window.
No, letting an important murder witness get away isn't going to help your record, Costello.
Wait a minute. Don't blame the cop, Logan. He had no reason to figure the gal would take a powder.
When I want your advice, Casey, I'll ask for it.
Oh, okay, pal.
She isn't such an important witness, Captain. There's hardly a thing that she could tell you that we don't already know.
And you keep out of this, Miss Williams. What did you just say?
Annie remarked that we could tell you a few things, pal.
You?
Mm-hmm.
Costello.
Yes, sir?
Report to your precinct station and stay on call for further orders from me.
Yes, sir.
And next time you meet a woman who identifies herself as Mrs. George something or other and then refers to her husband as Fred, you get suspicious and hang on to her no matter how good-looking she is.
Yes, sir.
Now get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Now, Casey, give. You too, Miss Williams.
Oh, you're asking for our advice?
I'm demanding whatever information you have.
Well, he's entitled to it, Casey.
Yes, he really is, Annie, but at times he has such bad manners.
Will you cut the comedy? I'm in no mood for it.
Okay, well, in the first place, according to the witnesses, Mrs. George Donald could have had no part in the murder of her husband.
I know that.
Now, wait a minute. She was too crazy about the guy she married to do him any harm.
How do you know that?
Because we recognize the dead man in that box. It was Fred Lister.
Who and what was Fred Lister?
He's a small-time crook, Logan. Never mixed up with anything big enough to bring him in contact with you homicide guys. While he was alive, that is. Up to a couple of months ago, he was a kind of errand boy for Lucky Carson.
Yeah, I've come in contact with Lucky Carson plenty of times.
Not close enough to pin anything on him.
Yeah, go on. Tell me about this Fred Lister.
Well, he had the good taste and the bad judgment to fall for a gal that his boss liked.
Lucky?
Yeah.
A gal named Ella Hagen, hat-check girl at the Silver Derby Club.
Both Ann and I knew her. She's a nice kid. Fred Lister became a nice guy after he met her. He left his mark, got an honest job, and he and Ella were married.
Casey was told that Lucky Carson was pretty sore about the whole thing.
I was also told that Fred and Ella had been tipped off that they'd better pull a fade out. Well, apparently they took the tip seriously. They were living in this joint under an assumed name.
But they didn't hide well enough when they did their fade out.
You two think this Fred Lister was killed at Lucky Carson's order?
That's right. This job is just the sort that lousy rat would pull on a gal who'd thrown him down for another guy.
Yeah, I'll issue a pickup order for Lucky Carson right away.
Then what?
We'll try to get something on him.
Optimist, aren't you?
That rat can't get away with murder forever, Casey. Come on, we'll go to headquarters and wait for him to be brought in.
don't know why you're always picking on me, Captain Logan. It's time you got wise to yourselves and lead off.
I'll lay off after I'm able to prove something, Lucky, and you're out of circulation for keeps.
That statement implies a malicious persecution of my client, Captain Logan.
You keep out of this, Webster. And that's another thing. Of course, it was mere coincidence that your lawyer was with you when my men picked you up this morning.
Sure. Purely coincidental, Captain. I happen to be spending the night at Mr. Carson's apartment. And 3 others of my mob, my business associates, was with us.
Someday you'll slip up on one of those phony alibis. You should realize that, Webster, and stop playing with trouble. You've got more brains than Lucky and his kind.
Who says Webster has more brains than me?
You heard me say it, didn't you?
He's trying to get the store, Lucky. Now, don't fall for it. Now, since you haven't a thing on my client, we'll be leaving here, Captain. So long, Captain. Poor Fred Lister was a nice punk. I'll be sending a swell hunk of flowers to his funeral, and I hope you get whoever bumped them off. Only I doubt if you will.
Don't be too sure.
Okay. So long, Casey. And Miss Williams.
Lucky.
Yeah?
Say, what's that thing on your watch chain? You've been running your fingers over it ever since you came in here.
It's my luck piece, Casey.
Your luck piece?
Yeah. It's just an old Indian head penny with a hole bored in it. But I wouldn't sell it for $100,000. I found it on the street one day when I was a punk. It's brought me luck ever since. Look at me now.
Lucky thinks it's a reason for his success.
Well, for a long time now, I ain't been able to hire and fire brainy guys like you, and I mean I have.
Well, I wasn't saying that you weren't right about it.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. Open the door.
Oh, sure, Lucky. Sure.
Get smart, Captain. Lay off me from now on.
Get out of here, both of you.
So long.
Those lousy rats. And there isn't a thing I can do to them.
That lawyer Webster's really worse than Lucky because he knows more.
Lucky doesn't like anyone to say that, Annie.
I noticed that.
I never knew about that Indian head penny before.
Yeah, nearly all crooks carry something they think brings them luck.
Doesn't look as though you'll pin Fred Lister's murder on Lucky, Captain.
No. From where we sit now, Miss Williams, there isn't a chance.
I don't agree with that, Logan.
Why not?
I'm going to have a talk with Fred Lister's wife.
With Lister's wife?
Yeah. I think I can find Ella. Through a close friend of hers, Annie.
Well, why haven't you said so before? You know I want to question that gal.
Questioning her won't get you anywhere, Logan. I want to tell her a few things.
Bruce Judson had no right to tell you I was hiding here in her apartment, Casey.
He knew I wanted to help you, Ella.
Nobody can help me. Fred's gone. I loved him, Casey. Now he's gone.
Yeah, you've had a rotten break, kid. I guess you've got an idea who killed him.
I know who killed him.
Lucky Carson?
Yes.
When you skipped out on that cop this morning, I figured you wanted to pay Lucky off personally. Right?
That's my business.
You know, Ella, murder is murder. Even if it happens to be Lucky Carson.
I have a plan to pay him off.
I think I have a better plan to pay him off than you have.
What do you mean?
Well, Lucky considers himself quite a guy. He wouldn't be too much surprised if you paid him a visit, a social one. He's got a big yen for you.
Talk straight.
All right, Ella, I will. But don't tell me my idea's crazy until you've thought it over. Now, here's what I want you to do.
Not all glass is alike. In fact, there are almost as many different kinds of glass as there are flowers in your garden. Some glass is produced for fragile beauty, others for sturdiness. And Anchor Hocking, the world's largest maker of household glass, produces glass of all kinds. The particular glass we're going to talk to you about tonight is Fire King oven glass, which combines beauty and sturdiness to an unbelievable degree. Now, you use Fire King oven glass for baking and for serving. It's so impervious to heat that it's guaranteed for a full 2 years against oven breakage. And the special Fire King process makes its surfaces actually mirror smooth. Fire King oven glass won't absorb baking stains. It won't absorb baking odors. It comes clean miraculously. Now, big 2-quart Fire King oven glass casseroles, pie plates, mixing bowls, and utility dishes of all kinds are now available at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, and department stores, all at incredibly low prices. Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
did you say wants to see me, Slug?
That Dame Ella, who was married to that punk Lister till night before last.
Show her in.
No, wait, Slug.
What's eating you, Webster?
You nuts, Lucky. That dame came to your apartment before her husband's even buried for just one thing. You.
She knows now that I don't stand for no crossing up. Same sofa guys who taught him a lesson.
Some dames don't, and this Ella...
Hannah, I'm not dope. Bring her in, Slug. But don't take your eyes off her. If she pulls a phony move, you know what to do.
Yeah, okay, Lucky.
You get behind that screen, Webb, and watch her.
I'm not one of your bodyguards.
You better be if this babe tries a fast one. You carry a rod, get back at that screen and keep it ready.
Well, okay.
Not that I expect any trouble.
Here's the thing, boss.
Hello, Lucky.
Ella, this is both a surprise and a pleasure.
Of course you know about Fred.
Yeah, and I'm awful sorry. I hope you didn't pay no attention to what the papers hinted, that I had something to do with his killing. They had to admit that the cops turned me loose right after they picked me up.
I read the papers.
Wait till you see the big floral piece I'm having sent to the undertakers for poor Freddie. It's a pearly gates ajar, Ella, done in gardenias and white roses. It'll set me back over $1,000. It'll show what I thought of your husband.
I realize what you thought of him, Lucky.
Now, look here, baby.
Don't try to kid me, and I won't try to kid you. I made a big mistake when I married Fred. You've proven that to me. Now I've learned my lesson, and do I have to be afraid of you, Lucky?
You afraid of me?
I had to come here today to find out. You won't hurt me, will you? You won't hurt me.
Ella, honey, you ought to know I would. Here, sit down on this sofa. Put your head on my shoulder and have a good cry. There, that's right.
Oh, Lucky, I've been so afraid.
Forget it, kid. Why, I wouldn't let no one hide a hair of your head. All I want is we should be pals.
I consider that a great privilege.
How about a kiss, huh? To make it a contract?
No, not now. Not till after Fred is put away.
No, I appreciate your sentiments. They show you ain't no common bimbo, Ella. But we'll get together after the funeral, huh? For dinner, here? Tomorrow night. Okay?
Okay. I've got to go now.
So soon?
Well, it wouldn't look right if I stayed any longer now. And besides, you've given me what I came for. Your friendship. Thanks.
The pleasure's going to be all mine.
Not altogether, Lucky. So long.
Show the lady out, Slug.
Sure thing.
We're making an early dinner, babe. 7 o'clock. As soon as you can ditch the pallbearers.
You can expect me. Goodbye.
Bye. You can come out now, Webb.
Oh, thanks.
Well, she didn't try no fast ones, did she?
No, you were right. I was wrong.
That's the way it usually is.
Thanks, God, boss. I sure got to hand it to you.
I get what I want, Slug. If not one way, I get it another. Webb, run over to my caterer's joint and tell him to fix up 2 dinners for tomorrow night. And be sure he has crepe Suzettis. They'll be appropriate for after the funeral. Get going.
See here, I'm your lawyer.
You're whatever I tell you to be. On your way.
All right, as soon as I get my coat.
Boy, I sure envy you, boss. It'll be nice having that cute little chick all alone. You was born lucky.
No, I wasn't born that way, Slug. I was always unlucky, till one day I found it's gone.
Huh?
My penny. My Indian head penny.
Penny?
And my luck piece. Look, Fred Webb. You too, Slug.
Okay.
Must have fallen on the floor. I know it was hanging on my watch chain just a few minutes ago.
Oh, I don't see it.
Look, Richard, dope. I was rubbing my fingers on it for luck when Ella come in. So I'm sure Ella.
What's the matter now?
She took it. Stole it. That dirty little double-crosser. Wait till I get her with my lucky penny. Come on. We're going after her. And look out, boy.
He tripped over that footstool.
Yeah. His head hit that piano like.
That cold.
Flat on his puss.
Yeah. Flat on his puss.
Gee. I never knew Lucky to meet with an accident before. Hey, it's funny, ain't it?
Don't let him hear you laughing when he comes to.
I ain't laughing. I mean, it's funny, him taking a nosedive right after he lost his lucky penny.
Yes, Slug, it is funny. Wonder what he'll think about it when he comes to.
Casey, you were telling me about sending that gal Ella to Lucky Carson's apartment this afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd nearly finished, Ethelbert.
Yeah.
Well, she clipped the luck piece off his watch chain, and I was waiting for her outside in my car. She got in. I took her back to her hideout, and that's all there was to it.
You figure losing that engine head penny's gonna bother Lucky a lot?
I think it'll do a lot more than bother him, Ethelbert. He's a dumb guy and a superstitious guy. The loss of that luck piece will drive him haywire.
Mm-hmm. And when a crook in Lucky Carson's position doesn't watch every step he takes, well, he only has to make one mistake, Ethelbert.
Yeah, which the cops will be watching for like a bunch of hawks.
Captain Logan knows about your scheme, huh?
Oh, sure. He's giving Ella Lister plenty of police protection, too.
You've told him where she's hiding out?
Well, Lucky's pretty sure to figure that she took that penny, and he'll try to get it back.
Tomorrow, he'll be tipped off to her hideout, accidentally, on purpose. And then, unless I'm completely wrong, he'll make his mistake.
Say, what's she done with the penny, Casey?
I have it. Ella hates Lucky so much she didn't want anything around that belonged to her.
Let me see the thing.
There it is. Yeah, it's just an old penny with a hole in it.
You think it's really Lucky?
Of course not.
How could it be?
Luck's mostly a matter of belief, pal. Self-confidence, I guess. You got it or you haven't got it.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll give you $1 for this penny, Casey.
$1? Look, if you want the thing, I'll give it to you, Ethelbert.
You will?
Oh, sure, it's yours, here.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, but don't let Lucky Carson know you've got it. You might find yourself in a spot.
Oh, I won't let nobody know I've got it, except you, of course.
Okay. Well, come on, Annie. It's getting kind of late. I'll drive you home.
Okay, I could do with a little sleep.
Well, good night, Ethelbert.
Night, Casey. Night, Miss Williams.
Night, Ethelbert.
Where'd I leave the car, Annie?
Across the street, dope.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Boy, I'm tired, huh?
Hello, Casey.
Look.
Evening, Miss Williams.
Hello.
I want you two should meet one of my boys. This is Big Slug.
How are you?
I'm okay.
You already know Webster.
Nice to see you two again.
So nice, we're keeping you with us for a while.
Keeping us with you?
Their hands in their pockets, Annie. They've got guns on it.
That's right. We're all getting into this car here, like old friends. You first, Slug. Casey next.
Hey, what's the big idea?
We'll talk about that later. Get in.
Okay.
You too, Miss Williams.
I guess I haven't much choice.
You haven't. You drive, Webster. I'll sit in back with Slug and our friends.
No, I must show.
Get going.
Okay.
Where are we going? Keep you from asking so many questions, Casey.
Hit him with that gun.
Give this face a thanks, Slug.
Sure.
They're both out nice, boss. Head for the country, Webb. When we get to a dark, deserted road, I'm going to have some fun.
Mug's finally coming too, boss. You put real stuff behind that crack on the head you give me.
Well,
Casey, I thought for a while he killed you.
I wouldn't do that, Miss Williams. Yes. You feel good enough to talk now, Casey?
talk, Lucky?
Yeah. Where's my lucky penny?
We don't know anything about a penny.
Can it, Casey? I know you put Ella Logan up to stealing it.
Lucky discovered his loss right after Ella left this afternoon. He was about to go after her when he had a little accident.
Never mind about that. Accidents can happen to anybody.
Sure, Lucky, sure. Anyway, I had the foresight to go to a window and see Ella leave the building and get into a car. And you, Casey, were driving that car.
After that, it was easy to add things up.
Very easy. I know you, Casey, and I told Lucky.
I'd have figured it if you hadn't told me, Webb. Casey, you had that dame steal my luck piece because you knew I'd go after it. And when I went after it, the cops were going to be around watching when I started to twist Ella's double-crossing neck. But I'm too smart for guys like you. I was waiting for you when you come out of the Blue Note Cafe. And here you are. Now, where's my penny?
I don't know.
No? You'd better come clean.
You've already searched him. You know he hasn't got it.
You can tell me where it is and how to get it.
I think, Lucky thinks that Ella wouldn't keep anything that belonged to him because
Well, for some unaccountable reason, she doesn't like him.
That's right, Webb. Hey, this is a nice lonely spot. Stop the car.
Okay.
Casey, I'm gonna make you tell me where and how to get back my luck piece. Pull him out of the car, Slug. Come on, guys. Come on.
Casey, they'll torture you. I got
No. Keep quiet, Ann.
Big Slug here will break every bone in your body, Casey. Slowly. If you don't...
I can't tell you anything I don't know. Big Slug's an awful sap if he does anything for a boss who's lost his luck.
Go to work on him, Slug.
Wait. Listen to me, Slug, and you too, Webster. You guys have got brains. You taking orders from this dumbbell? Orders that may land you in the hot seat all because he's lost a penny?
Hit him, Slug. Hit him.
No, don't hit him.
Webster!
Talk, Casey. Webb and me are listening.
Slug!
I knew you guys had sense. This jerk you worked for is washed up. All he ever had to keep him on top was a lousy copper luck piece, and he's lost it. He's sunk. He's through.
That's a cockeyed lie.
Slug and Webster don't think so, Carson. You're not lucky, Carson, anymore.
Cut it.
They're not saps enough to go through with your plan. They know every cop and every newspaper in town would go after our murderers and keep after them until they were caught.
I've said enough of this. You can't turn my guys against me, Casey. I'll show you.
Webster.
You shot him. Just as you're going to shoot Casey.
Yes, Miss Williams.
Thanks, fella. You won't regret that.
I'm sure I won't, Casey. I've wanted to kill Lucky Carson for a long time. And this afternoon, Slug agreed that it was a nice idea.
Yeah, a swell idea.
Gee, thanks. Thanks for saving our lives.
Oh, don't thank us yet, Miss Williams. Or you, Casey.
Why not?
Tell him, Webb.
You and Miss Williams would prove awkward witnesses if Slug and I were brought to trial. Remember, I'm really a lawyer. I mean to become boss of the former Lucky Carson mob.
Yeah, and when your dead bodies are found close to Lucky's, why, the cops will figure he shot you and you shot him.
That's right, Slug. You see, Casey and Miss Williams, we're going to kill you with a gun Lucky didn't have a chance to use, and then return the gun to his dead hand. The gun I shot him with will be found close to you. You get it?
You shot him and he shot you.
We get it.
Oh, Casey.
No. Don't see any way out of this one, kid.
There isn't any way out. Pick up Lucky's gun, Slug, and do the job.
Oh, you thought up this swell idea, Webb. It's your right to do it.
Well, I don't mind. First, I'll put this gun that I shot Lucky with near Casey so that it will look as if he dropped it. Yeah. Just right about here. Now, you keep him covered, Slug, while I get Lucky's gun.
No, you don't, Webb.
Slug, what goes?
You're the smart guy, Webb, but I'm smarter. I'm gonna be the boss of this mob.
No, don't shoot.
Well, he's done for. Now, lady and Casey,
Webster dropped his gun too close to me, Slug.
Did you kill him, Casey?
Did I kill him? I hope not, Annie. Hey, look, will you see? I never shot a guy before.
There are two great safeguards which protect you in buying prepared foods of any kind. One is the packer's name on the label. He spent a great deal of money in telling you about its quality because he believes in his product. He can't jeopardize for a single moment that enormous investment. The second safeguard, which the better food packers of America are bringing you in increasing numbers, is the glass container. For the glass container lets you see exactly what you buy before you buy it. At a glance, you can judge the quality of fruit, vegetables, meats, and seafood. And then, too, food packers know that glass won't affect taste or flavor. You can safely reseal the glass container to store leftovers. Now, it'll pay you to shop for foods packed in glass and to let your retailer know that you prefer foods packed in glass. Crystal clear, sanitary Anchor glass containers, which bring you so many of the better brands of food, and the Anchor vacuum caps, which protect them, are products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
You didn't kill that big slug guy, huh, Casey?
No, Ethelbert, he'll live.
Until he goes to the chair for killing Webster.
And Webster killed Lucky Carson. The gang's washed up.
That's right.
But not quite the way Mr. Casey figured on washing it up.
Well, okay, Annie, rub it in. I can take it. But I wasn't wrong about one thing, that Indian head penny. If I hadn't put Ella up to taking it, Lucky and his mob might still be doing business, don't forget.
You were wrong about that Indian head penny itself, though.
What do you mean?
Huh?
Miss Williams, less than half hour after Casey gave me that thing, I got a phone call telling me I'd won a $25 silk hat on a ticket I bought for 50 cents.
Silk?
You're like my sister Edna says, quote, even a penny can go to your head. Unquote.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Deep. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. No one is safe from cancer. It strikes young and old, rich and poor alike. Help bring this vicious killer under control. Give to the American Cancer Society's Drive for Fun. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Gee, it's hot today, Casey. Here it is, only April 24th.
April 24th, the anniversary of Ethelred.
My anniversary, Casey? You know I ain't even married.
I didn't say you, Ethelbert. I said Ethelred, once King of England.
Oh, what's he famous for?
Oh, who knows?
But everyone knows what Anchor Hocking is famous for. Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, Crime Photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, The Gentle Strangler. April, spring, around 9 o'clock in the evening. A quiet neighbor. From one of these homes, a dignified, white-haired gentleman emerges and strolls leisurely down a tree-lined avenue. A man appears from the shadow of one of the trees and...
Pardon me? Can I beg the favor of a light?
Light?
I wish to smoke. I have a cigarette and no match.
No, certainly. My lighter.
Thank you. You are Judge Whitcomb, are you not?
Yes.
I've seen your pictures in the papers.
Well,
May I walk with you to the next corner?
If you wish.
Good evening, Judge.
Oh, good evening, Dr. Crawford.
Beautiful night.
Lovely, lovely.
Spring is finally here.
Yes, spring. The end of winter. The beginning.
I don't recognize you, sir. You live in this neighborhood?
No. I do not live anywhere.
I beg your pardon?
I say, I do not live.
I do not understand.
You will. Because the dead do not live.
The dead?
Yes, Judge Whitcomb. This clump of evergreens here. They are the dense. They cast deep shadows.
Why are you choking me?
You see, Judge, you do not live anymore. You do not live.
Hold it a second, guys, will you? I want to get a shot of you putting that body in the dead wagon.
Okay, Casey.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Slide him in, Jim. Let's go.
Now, Logan, how did old Judge Whitcomb get it, huh?
Oh, the captain's just been telling me you strangled Casey by a person unknown.
Strangled?
Like Assistant District Attorney Dunning got his last week.
And are you newspaper people going to make things sweet for me, Miss Williams, if I don't crack both cases in a hurry?
Well, when big shot citizens like a judge and an assistant DA aren't safe within a few minutes' walk of their own front doors, pal, there's obviously something wrong someplace.
I'm in no mood for kidding.
Who said I was kidding?
You're nuts.
Okay. When was the judge strangled?
About 9 o'clock. He started out for his usual evening walk. Shortly after he left his house, Dr. Crawford, who lived in the next block, saw him with a strange man. But except that he was a big guy, and the doc can't give any description of the stranger.
Well, nothing was stolen from the judge, Casey. Apparently, the motive wasn't robbery any more than it was in the Dunning murder.
When a criminal court's judge and an assistant DA get killed within a week of each other, Logan, and are killed the same way.
Sure, it looks as though someone they sent to jail is pulling a payoff.
Oh, Dunning prosecuted an awful lot of crooks before Judge Whitcomb.
Hundreds, Miss Williams. It won't be easy to figure the particular one who killed them both.
This thing tonight at least looks like a tie-up.
Yeah, the man last seen with the judge is described as big. That's something.
Well, I'm heading downtown to check all cases Dunning prosecuted in Whitcomb's court. Then we'll see how much those somethings are.
Joe, will you take care of that lady over at the table? She wants a glass of half and half that's a third ginger ale. Oh, such people come in here, Miss Williams. They ask for the darndest things.
I'll have another glass of water, pal.
There, you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Your pretzels, Ethelbert, have given him a third.
That's the idea of having pretzels on the bar. But a thirst for water don't pay our rent or our license.
I'll tell you what. I'll come in here someday and buy a beer, Ethelbert. That is when the price comes down. Have a pretzel, Annie?
Mind if I do?
While you two are eating up the profits, what's new on them strangling cases?
Don't you read the papers?
Sure I do. And I think it's a crying shame the way they're all picking on Captain Logan. You and Miss Williams told me he ain't got a single clue to work on outside of the idea that Dunning and Judge Whitcomb was killed by the same man.
Yeah, well, that idea is beginning to pay off now, Ethelbert. Logan made an arrest this evening.
He did?
Yep.
It looks as though he has the right man.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, about 8 years ago, Lloyd Dunning prosecuted a crook named Rankin before Judge Whitcomb on a burglary charge. He got a conviction. And the judge gave Rankin the limit. Rankin claimed he'd had a raw deal, made a lot of big threats.
He was released from prison just a week before Dunning was strangled. He's a big man, and he has no alibi for the times when the killings took place.
Have another pretzel.
Thanks.
A little more water, Ethelbert.
For both of us.
You know that water's on a meter, don't you? This is becoming an outright swindle.
Hey, you better fill the pretzel bowl up, too. We're touching bottom down here.
Okay, but... Oh, excuse me, there's the bar phone.
His pretzels were saved by the bell, Annie.
Blue Note Cafe, Ethelbert speaking. Yeah, he's right here. Your city editor, Casey.
Uh-oh. All right, give me it.
Take it.
Hello, Bert. Wait a minute. Oh, now, Bert. Well, okay, all right, I got a pencil ready. Go ahead, shoot.
Alleyway on Market Street, just south of 12th. I got it. Huh? What's happened there? What? We're on our way, Burke, right now.
What is it, Casey?
Another strangling, Annie.
Another?
A detective got it this time, and Rankin didn't do the job. He's locked up in jail.
That corpse was Barney Lennon, Casey. One of my homicide guys, and one of the best.
Yes, he was a swell cop, Logan. Swell guy, too. Now, this strangler must be an awfully strong guy. Barney was no pushover.
Well, the strangler must have gotten him unaware.
He must have.
You know, Barney Lennon must have arrested the man whom Dunning prosecuted and Judge Whitcomb sentenced.
Oh, maybe these three stranglings are wholly unrelated. Maybe we're dealing with a maniac.
Well, the killer may be a maniac, Logan, but it's stretching that long arm of coincidence too far to believe that these three jobs are unrelated.
Yes, 3 law enforcement officers in the same way and within 3 weeks.
Yeah. A job a week. The killer may give us proof of relationship, Logan. Next week.
Look, Mr. Candido, never have I offered anyone such a bargain in my shop. An almost new speed graphic camera with a double plasma 12.
Jake, I need another camera like you need 12 toes.
And sell one of your old ones. I'll make you a trade. If I lose money, so
If you lost money on a deal, so it'd be a miracle. I'm trading no cameras today.
You know, hey, a man can only try, you know.
Send out that stuff I ordered first thing in the morning, will you?
For you, Mr. Candido, I'll have it delivered as soon as I open the shop.
And don't forget, I need those photo folders especially.
You'll get them. The new business is doing good, huh?
I can't complain.
Mm-hmm. When I think of you running a photographic studio that specializes in taking pictures of little children, I got to laugh. You who used to be a press photographer taking shots of fires and accidents and political conventions.
Yeah, it was those conventions that made me decide to leave the newspaper business. Good night, Jake.
Well, I'll take you to the door, then I'm going to lock up and go home myself. There wouldn't be any more business tonight.
That big guy looking in your window may be a customer.
Dan, don't be crazy. He's just a window shopper. I can always tell. Well, good night, Mr. Candido.
Night, Jake. And don't forget that early delivery.
First thing in the morning, you'll get it. I got it all written down.
Nice cameras you have in your window.
The best that money can buy, mister.
I'd like to buy one.
You like it? Say so. A man could be wrong.
I beg your pardon?
I was just saying to my last customer that you was only a window shopper. I was going to close up. Oh, come on in.
Thank you. You are the proprietor of this?
Me. Now, what kind of camera can I show you?
Do you keep other things besides cameras?
Anything for taking pictures, I got it.
Where? This store is so small.
I got a big stock room in front.
Before I select a new camera, I had in mind an enlarger.
Well, I got that big stuff in back. Now, what size do you want? Now, bring it out.
To save you the trouble, suppose I go with you and look.
Okay, this way. And what a bargain I can give you. Like none you ever had before in your life. If it's a 4x5 you want, I got an open dentist. And if it's a 5.7, I got an only projection that would make your head...
only you I want. Only you I want. Only you.
This strangling proves we're dealing with a madman, Casey. This Jake Blumberg had nothing to do with the law. He simply ran a little camera shop.
Jake once had something to do with law enforcement, Logan.
Yeah?
What, Casey?
He was a star witness, Annie, in a murder case.
Oh, hey, I remember now.
Yeah, I thought you would, pal.
It was his testimony that got that Ivanov girl a death sentence.
Mm-hmm. You remember the rest?
Barney Lennon arrested her. Dunning prosecuted her. Judge Whitcomb sentenced her.
Right.
Casey.
Yeah. I'm the guy who dug up the evidence against her. I must be next on the Strangler's list.
With present living costs what they are, Fire King Oven Glass is doubly welcome. One, because Fire King Oven Glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, the world's largest makers of household glass, its cost is incredibly low, and each piece is guaranteed for 2 years against oven breakage. 2, Fire King oven glass lets you make delicious, healthful meals out of leftovers of all kinds and out of inexpensive ingredients. And foods baked in Fire King oven glass inside the oven retain all their precious vitamins and delicious flavor. So ask for Fire King oven glass by name at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, and department store. Beautiful, practical, inexpensive Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
Come on now, talk, Casey. Tell me about this Ivanov case.
Well, okay, Annie. It was before you came to work on the paper.
1939 or 40.
39, Logan. The war just started in Europe.
Yeah.
Well, a gal named Irene Ivanov was suspected of poisoning some guy. She handed him a poisoned cocktail
But,
one night.
Casey, what did you have to do with this case?
Casey discovered that Irene Ivanov had bought the poison at Jake Blumberg's camera shop in the form of a chemical used in developing photographs. He got Jake to identify her, and that convinced the jury.
Assistant District Attorney Dunning, Barney Lennon, and I were able to show that the Ivanov dame never even snapped a camera shutter in her life and had no legitimate use for photographic supply.
Before Judge Whitcomb could sentence her, she committed suicide.
Suicide?
Yep. Got hold of a razor blade in jail and cut her wrist. When her mother heard the news, she had a fatal heart attack, and they were buried together. Now, this Irene was an only child.
But, Casey, how does the Strangler tie in with this? You say the Ivanov girl was an only child, and that she and her mother are dead.
Mm-hmm.
What about the father?
Before the murder, he had gone back to Russia, Annie. The Soviet government, with a war headed its way, kept him over there.
When he heard what had happened to his wife and daughter, Miss Williams, the poor fellow had to be put in a madhouse.
Well, you think he's been released and is back in this country?
It's possible.
After what's happened, I'd say it's probable.
Oh. Well, then all you have to do is to find him and...
Miss Williams, how do you find a man you've never seen and who has no criminal record?
Now, the only thing I can remember, even being said about him, Logan, in a descriptive way, I mean, was that he was a big and a gentle guy.
I don't remember the gentle part, but his bigness clicked with me as soon as you mentioned the Ivanov case.
Did anybody see a big guy come into this camera shop before Jake was killed?
I don't know, but the last sale he made before he was killed was for stuff to be delivered to a Mr. P. Candido.
Candido?
Yeah, here's his order book with the name and address.
Hey, that's Pat Candido.
Pat?
Sure, Pat Candido. You know him, Logan. He used to be on the news.
Yeah.
And if Pat happened to see that big guy...
It's been his business to notice things.
Come on, we're calling on Candido right away.
A medical examiner says that Jake was killed at about 7:30, Candido. You say you left his shop at about that time?
Yes, Jake said he was closing up his place and going home. But I saw someone go in right after I left.
What did he look like, Pat?
He was big, Casey. That's all I can tell you about him.
Oh, you got to tell us more than that, fella. That guy was Jake's murderer. Now think. Come on.
I've been thinking. He was just a big guy I saw looking in a window and never expected to see again.
And you were supposed to be a hot press photographer before you got soft and went into the baby picture racket. You were supposed to have a nose for news.
Oh, was my nose supposed to tell me he was going to commit a murder?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pat.
I'm sorry I let you down, Casey, but I just don't remember. Wait a minute. That big guy has eyes like a baby's.
Like a bit? What do you mean?
I take pictures of young kids all day, and, well, the babies, the infants, their eyes are different. They seldom focus when they look at you. They seem to look through you and all around you and not at you.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Pat, but that isn't much help. But the best you can do for us, huh?
That's all I can do for you.
Yeah, well, thanks, pal. At least more than we had before.
Well, now, that isn't enough to give Casey warning of a man who undoubtedly intends to strangle him next week. Now, what are you going to do about that, Captain Logan?
Don't worry, Miss Williams. Casey won't be alone any moment of the day or night from now on.
Huh? What do you mean I won't be alone?
Well, I'm not particularly concerned about your skin. And I want to catch a murderer in your bait. Wherever you go and whatever you do, a cop will be right beside you.
I feel like a 2-year-old kid that isn't allowed out without his nursemaid.
It's bad enough in the daytime, but when I have to look at one of you cops in my own apartment at night here...
I don't like it any better than you do, Casey. If you're a pleasant company, it wouldn't be so bad, but you do nothing but gripe.
Well, I'm sorry, Mac. Would you like a drink?
I would, yeah. But if I touched a drop and the captain found it out, I'd be back to pavement pounding in a uniform. When he gives orders to guard a guy, he means you don't do it with liquor under your belt.
That isn't even any sociability with you, Lugs.
Well, you ought to be glad we're on our toes. You know, Casey, it's just a week ago tonight since Jake Blumberg was knocked off. And you're next.
I could handle that strangler by myself. I'm not anemic, you know.
You don't know the guy, Casey.
Wonder if Ivanov has a Russian accent.
No, it isn't likely. He was brought to this country as a kid and lived here most of his life.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's almost midnight, Mac.
Yeah.
Start work tomorrow on the 8 a.m. shift, so I might as well hit the sack again.
Yeah, I'll be able to do a little sleeping myself tonight. Hope my relief shows up at 12 sharp.
Who is your relief tonight?
Oh, some guy named Norris. I don't know him. He's a uniformed cop from the precinct house.
A uniformed cop?
Yeah, Detective Bureau hasn't enough men to do all its work right now, Casey. We homicide guys especially have more than we can do.
I know that.
Of course, a plainclothes guy like me will pick you up in the morning.
That'll be something I'll look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Patrolman Norris won't mind a little fancy snoring. Well, I'm going to change into my pajamas.
All right, this is the place, Norris. Casey's apartment, 3B.
Thanks for giving me a lift here, Lieutenant.
It's all right, I was going this way. I remember your instructions, lad. No sleeping on this job. Keep your eyes open and your ears working. Anything happened to Casey while you're on duty, it'll be too bad for you. And if you're lucky enough to nab the strangler, you can store away that uniform and get yourself a detective shield.
I'll be on the job, sir.
All right, you find a drive-it-yourself elevator back of the lobby stairs. Good night, Norris.
Night, Lieutenant.
Good evening, officer.
Evening.
Going to Mr. Casey's apartment?
Who wants to know?
I'm a friend of his. Just left him. The detective with him said he was expecting his relief.
Oh, I see.
Here's the elevator. I just got out of it. Press number 3 button there.
Oh, thanks.
You went to sleep nice and quiet, officer. Hardly a sound. I'll take you to the roof and tie you up. You're big like me. Your uniform will fit me fine.
That relief cop is over 5 minutes late already, Casey.
Well, you're actually off duty now, Mac. How about that nightcap?
No, thanks. Not till the guy gets here.
Here I'm all ready to hit the beauty rest, and you keep me up because I will give you a little hospitality before you shove off. Well, there's your relief. Now I'll get him.
Yep. Keep away from that door, Casey.
What do you mean?
It just might be the bird I'm guarding you against.
Oh, nuts.
Who's there?
Officer Norris, 23rd Precinct.
Okay, just a minute.
Cop with a list.
One of our best dicks on the safe and loss squad, Stutters.
Yeah, I know him.
All right, come in, Norris.
Thanks. I'm your relief.
Yeah, and a late relief.
I'm sorry, it couldn't be helped.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, too. All right, give me that nightcap, Casey, and I'll get out of here.
Okay, Mac. How about you, Norris?
No, thank you.
I guess you know your orders.
Yes.
You know, I never run into you before, Norris. My name's McAvoy.
Nice to know you.
I'm Casey.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Here's your poison, Mac.
Oh, thanks, Casey. Well, here's how.
How?
Well, I'm heading for home now. You lock the door when I go out, Norris, and take care of this lug Casey.
I'll take care of him.
You'll find me a pain in the neck, but you'll have to stand for that. Sock him if he gripes too much and put him to sleep.
I may do that.
Come on, get out of here, Mac.
Yeah, I'm on the way, Casey. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Now, I'll lock the door.
I'm going to bed, Norris. There's a lot of magazines on that table for you to read if you want. The books and the case and this bottle. Help yourself to all of them.
Thanks very much.
You got a long, dreary night ahead of you.
All nights are long.
Well, I'd hate to have your job. sitting up guarding a guy that snores.
Maybe you won't snore tonight.
You're an optimist. Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Say,
Yes?
how did a guy like you ever decide to be a cop?
It was a means to an end.
What end? Excuse me, I'm getting kind of personal on such short acquaintance, but you seem such a gentle sort of fellow that I... Gentle?
Why do you look at me like that, Mr. Casey?
It's sizing you up.
How do you size me up?
Okay. You're okay. Think I'll have a nightcap.
I prescribe it.
Sure you won't join me?
No, thank you. Detective McAvoy should be out of the building now. Well on his way home, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think so, too. And since we won't be disturbed...
No, you don't! My eyes! The whiskey! I've got a full glass right in them. Ivanov.
I've got my hands on you now. You'll die like the others who killed my daughter.
Hey, you can't move so quick. But you're not going to strangle
I can see. Again, I have a gun.
You won't use it, though. How was that precise? Now try this on your whiskers. Boy, you'd ever really gotten those big mitts of yours around my neck. Hello, headquarters. Give me Captain Logan, will you? He isn't in, huh? Well, when he comes in, tell him Casey called. And to send a wagon up to my joint for the Strangler. Yeah, he's sleeping right now in my apartment, and I'm afraid I'll wake him up if I start to snore. Oh, wait a minute. Give Logan another message for me. Tell him my opinion of his idea about having me guarded is phooey.
Breakfast time tomorrow morning is a long way off, and that makes breakfast just about the most important meal of the day. Now, when I was a small boy, breakfast was an exciting experience. On my grandmother's table, there was always a great plate of hot golden brown toast and at least a half dozen different jellies, jams, and preserves to add zest and sparkle to those good old-fashioned breakfasts. Now, that's one reason we're so glad tonight to salute the Preserve Industry Council of America for its magnificent campaign to brighten up the breakfast toast with mouth-watering strawberry and apricot, sweet tart orange marmalade, and blackberry jam, fragrant apple butter, and currant jelly. Why, how much more inviting they can make your breakfast table. They whet young appetites, provide quick energy to see you through the day. Practically all preserves come to you today in crystal clear sanitary glass containers. Anchor glass containers and modern anchor hocking sealing methods not only protect these superb products of tree and bush and vine more perfectly than any methods known to our grandparents, but they also provide a stimulating, colorful rainbow on the table. Always serve a variety of jams, jellies, and preserves at breakfast. Anchor glass containers and easy-to-remove anchor caps are both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
But, Casey, how did you get wise to that Ivanov guy in the cop's uniform?
His eyes were like a baby's, Ethelbert. They didn't focus.
The eyes of mad people are often like that.
Yeah. And Ivanov is as crazy as they come, poor devil. He's going to spend the rest of his life in a nut house. Of course, those funny eyes Pat Candido noticed put me on guard, you see. I filled that whiskey glass just in case. I wasn't going to take any chances.
Ivanov had the cop's revolver, Ethelbert, in case he couldn't take chances.
Right.
How'd you find the cop whose uniform Ivanov had taken?
He was on the roof, tied up and gagged. Otherwise, he was okay.
Ivanov had been listening outside Casey's door. He heard the name of the cop that was to relieve McAvoy, and that McAvoy didn't know him personally. So he just put poor Norris to sleep and took his place.
Seems to me that for a crazy guy, he went about his strangling business in a pretty smart way.
Well, insane people often have a very sane side, pal.
And vice versa.
Why look at me?
I wasn't looking at you, Casey. I was looking at that pretzel bowl.
Oh. Well, don't just look at it.
It's empty again. Fill it up.
Yeah. And Ethelbert.
I know. 2 more glasses of water.
Yeah. And cold this time.
Crime Photographer, starring South Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation and is directed by John Dean. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. Next week, part of the country goes on daylight saving time. If your area remains on standard time, tune in your favorite radio program, Crime Photographer, 1 hour earlier. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Ethelbert, what on earth's going on over there?
Oh, that's Grace. I can't get her away from that piano.
Tell her to let Herman play.
Oh, Grace, that's enough. Thanks.
Besides, this is the famous noise abatement week.
Well, it may be famous, Casey, but it's not as famous as my favorite line. Anchor Hocking is the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, King of the Apes. Mid-afternoon, the Blue Note Cafe. Leaning comfortably on the bar are Casey and Ann Williams. And behind the bar, its chief custodian, Ethelbert.
You and Miss Williams are going to the circus tonight, huh, Casey?
Yeah, we gotta go, pal. It's an assignment.
Every year, Ethelbert, he's found an excuse to go to the circus.
You think I like to go to the circus, huh?
Well, if you don't, you'd better reserve yourself a chair in the old men's home.
She's right, Casey. Any guy who can't enjoy the circus is slipping, and fast.
I love the clowns and the elephants.
I still like the brass bands and the peanuts and popcorn.
Well, I go for the lady bareback riders and the lady acrobats and the lady...
That's enough.
Well, I just wanted to establish that I'm not slipping, Annie. I'm simply matured, that's all.
What kind of assignment you two got at the big show?
Principally, we're covering the feature act, King of the Apes.
They say that's swell. According to pictures on the billboards, that fella, the king, keeps 20 or 30 giant gorillas under his complete control.
Now, circus posters underrate a little bit, Ethelbert. The 20 or 30 giant gorillas are really 6 orangutans.
And their trainer isn't the king. His name is King. Charles King.
Oh. But an orangutan is a pretty big monkey, huh?
Big enough. The full-grown male can break a couple of Joe Lewises in two.
Then I guess 6 orangutans are plenty for a guy to go into a cage alone with.
I'd say so. Well, we'd better get over to the circus, Annie. It's nearly time for our date.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you said you were going to the circus tonight.
We're interviewing Mr. King after the matinee performance. We're seeing the show tonight.
Oh.
Well, so long, pal.
So long, Ethelbert.
Have a good time, and don't let him lock you up in the monkey cage.
Nuts to you, pal, and so long.
So long, Casey. And nuts to you.
King's dressing room is this way, Annie.
The afternoon show is still going on. Casey, let's peek through those back curtains.
Oh, no. Look, we'll see the whole thing from out front tonight, Annie. Besides, that's the wind-up you hear now, the grand finale.
Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Oh, look. The clowns are coming from the ring. Oh, let's walk.
Oh, I've seen clowns before. We've got a date,
Oh,
Annie.
just a minute, Casey.
Oh, okay. Some nice-looking performers coming through the curtains now. That one in the black spangled tights has got beautiful eyes.
We'll find Mr. King.
No, I'm in no hurry, Annie.
We've got a date.
Huh? Oh. Okay. There. That's the star dressing room there.
Well, give a knock.
Oh, wait a minute. There's several star dressing rooms. Well, here's the one with the King's name on it.
Don't you dare call me that.
I'll call you worse if I catch you with that bond finale again.
You better not, you big poker.
A little argument inside that room, Casey.
King.
I'm fed up with your jealousy. If I feel like talking to a man, any man, I'm going
You're not
to.
going to sneak up in corners with Finelli again, I tell
Try
you.
and stop me.
I'll stop you.
Don't you put your hands on me. Don't
Time to break this up, Annie. Come on.
That knock should do it.
Who's there?
Miss Williams and Casey in the Morning Express. If you're Mr. King, your press agent made a date for us to see you.
Oh, yes, of course. Just a moment.
That ended the battle, Casey.
Sure did.
Please come in.
Oh, thank you.
Miss Williams and Mr. Casey, you said?
That's right.
I'm Charles King. Nice to know both of you.
Nice to know you.
Mr. King.
Allow me to present my wife.
Mrs. King.
How'd you do? If you'll excuse me, I'll be running along.
Wait, Bernice.
Yeah?
This lady and gentleman are going to do a feature story about the act. Don't you want to stay?
Your act, Charlie. They don't want to interview me. See you later.
I'd like you to stay.
I've got some shopping to do. Nice to meet you, Miss Williams and Mr. Casey. So long.
So long.
My wife is always on the go, as you Americans say. You pardon her, I'm sure.
Certainly.
I'm very grateful for this visit. Publicity is the lifeblood of show business. Perhaps I'd better take you downstairs to the animal room. The three of us and my orangutans can get acquainted all at the same time.
All right.
I fancy that's what you wish.
Yes, sir, that's it.
Yeah.
Come on, then. We'll walk down that ramp to the animal room.
All right. Careful, Annie. Slip.
Bernice,
What?
I thought you were going shopping.
I am. I just stopped to talk a minute with Mr. Finelli.
Hello, Charlie.
Hello, Finelli. You better get your shopping done, Bernice.
Okay. See you later, Luigi.
Sure, Mrs. King.
Miss Williams, if you and Mr. Casey will excuse me, I want a word with that man.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, go
Mr.
ahead.
King.
Thanks. Just a moment, Finelli.
This seems to be the old triangle business,
And
Casey.
how?
That Finelli is good looking.
Yeah, so is Mrs. King. They're both young.
King must be 50.
Oh, easy. But he looks like a tough guy to tangle with. Huh? He seems to be quietly laying down a little law to Mr. Finelli over there. Look at that.
Thanks for waiting for me.
Not at all. It's all right.
Here's the ramp. The cage of my beast found far from the bottom.
Hey, that guy you were talking with had on tights, Mr. King. What is he, an acrobat?
He's a wire walker.
Oh.
Do you good people know very much about orangutans?
Practically nothing.
We've seen a couple in the zoos.
Then perhaps you'd like to have a little basic information for your story, Miss Williams.
Yes, I would.
But the orangutan is found only in Borneo and Sumatra. In size, he is the second of the great apes, ranking next to the gorilla. In intelligence, though some place the chimpanzee in a higher category, I rank the orangutan first. Those are my animals in those two cages.
Casey, we've never seen an orangutan like that big fellow at the zoo.
Oh, that's Nimble. He's a full-grown male. If he stood upright, which he seldom does, he'd be 5 feet 7 inches tall. And he tipped the scale at 22 stone, about 300 pounds.
Why do you keep him alone in that cage? Is he vicious or something?
No, I'm keeping Nimbu separate temporarily because he hasn't been very well.
Oh.
I'm quite worried about him. Without Nimbu, I wouldn't have the same act. And, well, I'm fond of the old fellow.
Seems pretty fond of you. Casey, did you see him reach out his hand to Mr. King like a big child?
Yeah.
I let him take my hand and put his other long arm around my neck.
I wouldn't want him that close to me, brother.
I wouldn't dare permit such familiarity from the one in the next cage.
Oh, he doesn't like you, huh?
Oh, he doesn't like anybody. Fear of Nimbu is the only thing that keeps Dillinger in his place.
Dillinger?
I call him that because he's a public enemy, Miss Williams.
Oh.
Hello, boss.
Oh, hello, Joe. I was beginning to wonder where you were.
I was out getting some fresh medicine for Nimbu.
You know, I never want these animals left alone. Where's Tyan?
He have probably gone for a drink. That man is no good.
Yes, I know that, but he knows Big Ape.
Because he is a little ape himself. Better you should send him back to Borneo where we got him.
I'll have another talk with Tyan. Oh, excuse me, Miss Williams, Mr. Casey. This is Johannes Fleet, my chief assistant.
Mr. Fleet?
Hi, Mr. Fleet.
Johan knows as much more about orangutans as I do. He was born in Dutch Borneo and talks their language.
I talk Dutch and English, not ape talk. That is for men like that Tyan.
Tyan, my second assistant. He's a Dayak. A Borneo tribesman. You can write a few colorful lines about him, Miss Williams.
It's feeding time. I go get fruit for your ape.
He's a pleasing character, Casey.
Yeah.
I heard what you said, Miss Williams. Johann Philip is, well, it isn't easy to find men who can properly care for orangutans, and he knows the beasts. The same applies to Tyan, who is, as you Americans might say, another stinker.
Hey, Batman.
Oh, there he is. Joe says you were left to watch those animals, Tyan.
Orangutan not go away when locked in cage. Tyan, get thirsty, go first. Get drink.
You're always getting a drink, and I'd like you to...
And if Tyan don't be more good, you send him back chop quick to Borneo. You don't do that, boss man. You need Tyan.
All right. Here's a fresh bottle of medicine. Give him some.
Okay, boss man. First I tell him I gonna do him good.
He's chattering to that big ape. He and the ape answers back.
Well, I'm going to get some pictures of this. This is terrific.
Tyan seems to really talk ape language, Miss Williams. The Dayaks believe orangutans have a language, and that some men learn it.
That ought to be a good shot. Here comes Fleet. I'll get one of him feeding it.
Hey, boss man. Nimbu, he no look good in the eye, and his tongue very dry. He more sick than before.
Better you should not have him work tonight.
Jack's never so good without Nimbu, Joe.
Never will it be so good if Nimbu die.
Well, the two of you are right, I suppose. I shan't work him tonight.
Oh, then Casey and I won't see him in your act.
I'm sorry, Miss Williams. You won't see him tonight.
Show in the world is proud to present the most daring, colossal, engrossing, educational exhibition of man's mastery over the savage beast that has ever been witnessed in the history of the universe.
That's it, Annie. This is King Jack.
They're throwing up the cage, Casey.
Most dangerously intelligent animals known to man. Orangutans.
Well, that Nimbu sure looks dangerous and wise.
From the jungle wilds of Borneo.
afternoon.
One man dares to enter the cage, alone and unarmed, and to bend them to his superior will. Ladies and gentlemen, the outstanding, unexcelled star attraction of the circus world, King of the Apes.
Boy, that was some build-up, wasn't it, huh?
The ringmaster did use a few superlatives. Mr. King looks nice in that Jungle Explorer's outfit, doesn't he?
Yeah. His wife isn't half bad in her shorts.
She is not in the cage.
Oh, she's just outside over on the left there, Annie.
Let's see. Look, Casey. The
letting the apes into the ring cage now from those wagons.
Yeah, that Joe Flair is superintending the job.
I don't see Tyan.
Oh, he's around somewhere, I imagine.
Dillinger's coming into the cage now. Ooh, he's a mean-looking animal.
I'm sorry we're not going to see Nimbu do his stuff. He's a real star of this act, you know.
Yeah, and King depends on him. He told me he doesn't have to carry that big whip in the ring with him when Nimbo's there.
Yeah,
He's the boss.
Look, Annie, look, the big monks are going to ride those tricycles. Look at that, Annie.
I thought you didn't care for circuses.
Well, it's part of my job to come here and take pictures, that's all.
What was that?
Funny cry, wasn't it? Animal or something, I guess.
Casey, those big apes stopped riding in that car. King can't get them to start again. Seem to be listening.
There it goes again. Hey, look at Dillinger.
He's grabbed Mr. King. He's killing him.
He's got him on the throat, Annie. Annie, I'm going to shoot some pictures of this. That cry we heard, Annie. I've got a hunch this wasn't any accident.
Mother's Day is a week from Sunday. Why not make this an occasion to be remembered? Make Mother queen for the day. Keep her out of the kitchen. Let the whole family pitch in and cook this Mother's Day dinner yourselves. It's not as difficult as it sounds, particularly if you rely on Fire King oven glass, the amazing oven glass which practically assures baking results. Plan your meal around a big baked casserole dish. Supplement it with hot bread or biscuit and top the meal off with a homemade pie. Why, it's easy if you follow the recipes and use Fire King oven glass casseroles, pie plates, and baking dishes. At your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store, you'll find a wide variety of Fire King oven glass, an ideal Mother's Day gift. Prices are amazingly low. Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
Mr. King of the Apes was buried this morning, huh, Casey?
That's right, Ethelbert, yeah. Miss Williams and I just came from his funeral.
I suppose the circus folks gave him a big send-off.
They did. The funeral was a circus in itself, complete with brass bands. And Mrs. King gave a fine center ring performance.
What do you mean?
Well, she put on a big act, Ethelbert. She shed crocodile tears all over the place.
And we think she cared about as much for her husband as I care for, well, a 1940 model spring hat.
Was that Wire Walker Finelli there, who you think is her boyfriend?
No, he didn't come to the funeral. Neither did Tyan.
Tyan's the other fellow who was King's assistant, huh?
Yeah, the Dyak from Borneo.
Who's inherited King's place in the act.
You think one of them people had something to do with King's death, don't you?
King was crushed to death by that big orangutan, Dillinger. After he and the other apes in the ring had shown a marked reaction to the peculiar animal cries that everybody heard. Miss Williams and I had seen and heard Tyan talking to Nimbu that afternoon, and a lot of the circus people really believe that he has a special way of communicating with apes.
And fantastic as it may seem, Ethelbert, those cries made by Tyan could have instructed Dillinger to turn on his master.
That isn't fantastic at all, Annie. Not a bit. Dogs, horses, and lots of animals instinctively react to certain sounds, don't they?
Oh, sure. It ain't hard to teach a pooch to sick 'em.
Well, that's right.
He wasn't seen by anybody when them cries were heard, was he? Tyan, I mean.
According to his story, he'd had a few drinks too many and was sleeping them off in the animal's feed room.
Another thing, Ethelbert, an expert from the zoo has examined Nimbu, and he says the big ape wasn't naturally sick. He'd been doped.
Nimbu was the boss monk, and he liked King. He had to be taken out of the act before Tyan could do anything with Dillinger.
What are the cops doing about all this?
Nothing. Nothing they can do. No way of proving that those cries had anything to do with King's death. So it goes down in the books as, what do they call it, accident, incident to a hazardous profession, and that's that.
And we can't even hint at our suspicions in the paper, Ethelbert, without letting the Express in for a libel suit.
Yeah, but in my book, Tyan caused the death of Charles King, and I think Mrs. King put him up to it.
She's now free to play around with Finelli.
And Mrs. King owns the act since her husband's death. I'm sure that she, Finelli, and Tyann were together in this thing, and I...
Excuse me, there's the bar.
Go ahead, fella, go ahead.
Hello, Blue Note Cafe. Ethelbert speaking. Yeah, just a minute. Your city editor, Casey.
Now, give me it.
Here.
Hello, Burke. Yes, I'm here again. What? What happened at the Hippodrome?
Hippodrome? That's where the circus is.
Tell me that again, Burke. We'll get over there right away. So long.
What is it, Casey?
Finelli has been murdered.
Finelli?
And Tyann has been arrested for the killing.
Casey.
Annie, this doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up at all.
How was Finelli killed, Captain Logan?
The same way Marie Antoinette was. His head was cut off.
What? Oh, holy.
The lethal instrument in this case was a curved, razor-edged Dyak knife. It's been identified as belonging to that Borneo native, Tyann, who was found in his dressing room, dead drunk, with the murder knife beside him shortly after the murder was discovered.
Did you sober him up enough to talk?
He was able to deny that he'd killed anyone. Drunk or sober, nearly all killers can do that.
Yeah, but why should he have killed Finelli, though, huh?
Well, the guy's only one generation out of the jungle, and he was drunk. That's two reasons.
Yeah, well, wait a minute, though, Logan. Tyann had just landed himself a sweet job. He'd become the big shot in a big feature act owned by Mrs. King. Oh, why should he pitch his big chance away in his life besides by killing her boyfriend? That doesn't add up.
Look, this Tyann is a semi-savage from Borneo. He was lit to the skylight.
Well,
the murder weapon belonged to him, and we found it beside him. Now, Casey, take your little camera in hand and shoot pretty pictures for the paper. I've got important police work to do. So long, Miss Williams. Try to keep Casey from straining his brain.
Wise guy, Logan.
He's right about Tyann, Casey.
Is he?
Of course he is. We're seeing a nice example of poetic justice. Mrs. King has Tyann arrange her husband's death so she can have Finelli. And then Tyann destroys the man she wanted and himself at the same time, and now she's without a husband, without a boyfriend, and without a means of making a living. She has no one who can work those apes.
Wait a minute. Yes, she has. Johannes Fleet.
Oh, say, I'd forgotten about him.
Yeah, so had I, almost. Annie, from the first, we've been wrong about this whole setup. Can't you see it? Annie Fleet's the guy.
Why?
Well, because he knows more about big apes than King does. I think Johannes Fleet doped Nimbu and gave that cry that caused Dillinger to kill King. And then when Tyann was put in King's place, Fleet pulled a second murder and framed Tyann for it.
Well, where do we go from here?
Well, I don't know.
That's a help.
Wait a minute, Annie. Give me a chance to think here. All right. We'll go to Bernice King.
Mrs. King?
Yes. Finelli's death puts her in the clear. Fleet's been the whole works. And she can help us get the goods on him.
How?
Come on. We're going to pay her a call, Annie. And on the way, we'll pick up that wise guy, Logan.
I think you're right, Mr. Casey.
Thanks.
You're more easily sold than I am, Mrs. King. I think he's altogether wrong.
You would, Logan.
Whether he's right or wrong, Captain, I'll take any chance to get the man who may have caused my husband's death. You've been frank with me, Mr. Casey. You think I was in love with Luigi Finelli. I wasn't. If I looked twice at any man, he'd begin to spy on me, question me. With Finelli, I was deliberately trying to pay him off for the unhappiness his jealousy had caused me. Miss Williams, another woman would realize how I felt, what I was doing.
Oh, I do realize, Mrs. King.
Now Charlie's gone. If I could only bring him back, he could be jealous, he could beat me, anything.
We're very sorry, Mrs. King.
I won't cry anymore. What do you want me to do, Mr. Casey?
Well, first, I want you to give Dillinger some of the same harmless dope we think was fed to Nimbu. So Fleet will think that he's sick and we'll have to stay with him tonight.
I don't get it, Casey.
No, neither do I.
Well, there's more than one way to trip up a murderer. Now, tonight, Mrs. King, you will go to the animal room and talk with Fleet. Logan and I will be hidden behind the cages. Now, here's what I want you to say. There she comes, Logan.
Yeah, I see her.
So does Fleet.
What are you doing here so late, Mrs. King?
I've come to talk to you, Joe.
About Dillinger? Well, if you're worried about that orangutan, I'm taking good care of him.
I'm sure you are. You figure he and all my other orangs belong to you now, and you've become king of the apes.
That's right. You can't work them in the ring.
I imagine you expect an increase in pay.
I wasn't going to rush you on this, Mrs. King, but since you bring the matter up, suppose we make it from now on. I take all the money from the act and pay you 10% of the net.
You want 90%, huh?
Well, is that not fair enough for an indispensable man?
Joe, you're going to work for me in your new job for less money.
Are you crazy?
You see, if you don't accept my terms, I'm going to tell the police some things I know.
What do you mean?
I know who really killed Finelli and my husband.
How you know that, Mrs. King?
I was here last night when Finelli was killed. I saw something.
If you was here last night and saw something, why didn't you tell the cops?
I got a better idea. I'm a businesswoman, Joe. It occurred to me that you'd work very cheap in order to escape the electric chair.
Mrs. King, you did a very foolish thing in coming here tonight.
Why?
The police will think you was worried about poor sick Dillinger. You was foolish enough to enter his cage while I was out of the room.
What are you talking about?
I'm putting you in his cage. Dillinger will do the rest, as he did for your husband.
Let me go.
Oh, no. As I kill your husband, as I kill Finelli, now I kill you.
Let go, Logan. Pick him up, please.
Oh, cops.
Pick him up and let go of that woman.
Oh, so this was all a trick.
Let go of Mrs. King, I say.
What? Do what, Joe?
No, cops. To get me, you got to shoot through this woman. And I got the gun, too.
Captain Logan, he's holding me.
You can't get out of here, Fritz.
Look, I got my gun at this woman's back. If I do not go free, she dies.
You'll kill me, Captain.
Got us, Logan.
All of you, bent over by the wall. All right. Now, Mrs. King, we go.
You'll never get away with this.
I take my chances on that. Now walk in front of me. Off these cages. And slow, Mrs. King.
I will.
That big ape's got him by the throat. Got too close to that cage. Come on, help me pull him away from that orang, Casey.
All right.
Wait, he's dropped him. Look, his neck is broken. He's dead.
Jimbo, he saved my life.
Take it easy, Mrs. King. You're safe now. I guess Annie was right. I guess there is poetic justice. Back to Casey in just a moment. But first, here is a message from Anchor Hocking. I hope that every one of our listeners will make a special point to tune in Crime Photographer next Thursday evening. We're going to have an unusually exciting show, and the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation will have an announcement to make of the utmost importance. And now, tonight, we're celebrating National Baby Week. And in the interest of better health, retail stores and food packers throughout America are focusing attention on the scientifically prepared glass-packed baby foods which make it so easy to provide a properly balanced and healthful diet. Now, these glass-packed baby foods simplify the young mother's work enormously. You can heat and serve baby food in the same glass container in which you buy it and reseal it safely to store leftover portions. Glass containers are easy and safe to open, and they have no effect on taste, flavor, or purity. All better brands of prepared baby foods come to you packed in glass, in Anchor glass containers protected by Anchor vacuum caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
I suppose they've let that little guy Tyan out of jail now, huh, Miss Williams?
Yes, Ethelbert, after Captain Logan gave him a long talk about the electric chair he'd been so close to.
Yeah, it made such an impression on Tyann that he took the pledge never to drink again. And he'll be back in the act as King of the Apes tonight.
And Casey and I are going to the circus again tonight to watch him work with Nimbu.
Hey, as a matter of fact, the performance will start in half an hour, Annie. We'd better get over there. Huh?
The ape act don't go on till late, does it?
Almost at the end of the show, Ethelbert.
But you're going to see the whole show again?
That's Casey's idea.
There's a lady acrobat I want to look at again, Anne. She has such beautiful eyes.
Crime Photographer, starring Scott Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass. Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Deep. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hello, Ethelbert. What are you reading?
Hiya, Casey. I'm just brushing up on the baseball scores.
Was that so? I didn't know you were a baseball fan.
Oh, sure. I follow the Dodgers every year. Who's your favorite team, Casey?
Well, I usually root for the Yankees. How about you, Tony?
Who, me? Why, naturally, I root for Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, The Laughing Killer. Midnight, and the Blue Note Cafe is doing its usual brisk midnight business. From the service end of the bar, a waiter beckons to Ethelbert, the head bartender.
What do you want, Walter?
The guy at that table by the wall wants another drink, Ethelbert. How about it? He's lit to the eyes.
You better collect his bill and ease him into a cab.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
This face is familiar. You know who he is, Walter?
No, he's a new one to me.
I can't place him, but he's a clean-cut looking guy.
Yeah.
See, he gets a right cab, Walter, with a driver you know, huh?
Okay. If I can get him out and into a cab.
Hi, Ethelbert.
Well, Casey.
Hello.
Evening, Miss Williams. You two just put the paper to bed?
Yeah. Nothing to do now but go home and get some shut-eye.
Oh, and how I'll go for that. Oh, I'm tired.
You and me both, Annie. Ethelbert, give me a pack of cigarettes, will you?
Same old brand?
Sure, same old brand. What do you think?
Here.
Pick up what you need.
Why you got a bullet mixed up with that silver?
A bullet? Oh,
Captain Logan gave that to Casey today.
yeah. This .32 caliber shell was in an automatic that killed a guy last month, pal.
Casey helped Logan get the killer, so that cartridge is to remember him by.
A little slug just like that bumped someone off, huh?
A .32 is big enough when it gets inside you.
Don't go into details. I can imagine.
I don't want to go home. Look. I want another drink. Please, mister. Oh, no, I don't want to go home.
One of your customers isn't listening to reason, Ethelbert.
Ethelbert, hey. Isn't that drunk Artie Maddox?
Artie Maddox?
Yeah.
Sure, I knew I'd seen him before. When did he get out of the big house, Casey?
Last month on parole. I meant to look him up, but I haven't had time.
You mean that nice-looking man is an ex-convict?
Yeah, and he was sent up for murder, Miss Williams.
Well, not quite. That was manslaughter. A lot of doubt that he was guilty even of that, too.
That's so.
What?
His case was hot news before you come to this town, Miss Williams. Artie Maddox was an orchestra leader.
He had one of the best sweet bands in the country, Annie. Before he met some dame who calls herself Gypsy Hibbert.
Gypsy Hibbert. Oh, the big blues singer.
That's right. And you can shorten the gypsy part of her name to plain Gyp. That'll describe her better.
What happened?
Well, she was singing in a roadhouse, and Artie heard her. He hired her and gave her a feature spot with his band. Then he went nuts about her and wanted to marry her. But she just kind of strung him along in order to meet more important guys.
One of which was Phil Blaney.
At that time, Annie, 5 years ago, Blaney was a big shot in the gambling racket here.
You mean he had the spot that Lou Carboni has now?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Carboni then was merely Blaney's first assistant. Well, Blaney went for the gypsy gal in a big way. One night, the cops got a phone call from Gypsy who said there'd been an accident in her apartment. When they got there, they found Blaney with a bullet in his head, and Artie Maddox was in the apartment. He said Blaney had pulled a gun on him, that there'd been a struggle. The gun went off in Blaney's direction. Of course, Gypsy told the same story.
A lot of folks, including the cops, were more than half convinced it was she who'd really shot Blaney in cold blood. And that Artie Maddox told the story he did to protect her.
Yeah. But she came out of the mess undamaged, and poor Artie went to jail.
And he hadn't been in the big house 6 months when Gypsy Hibbert married Lou Carboni, who'd fallen heir to Blaney's racket.
Nice girl.
Yeah. So nice that even a rat like Carboni couldn't stand for her long. They separated a little while afterwards. Gypsy got a divorce and heavy alimony. Well, Artie Maddox is out on parole now. That's all.
I don't want to go home.
Except that he won't stay out if the parole board hears he's getting plastered.
If those waiters are going to get him out of here, it looks as though they'll have to carry him out.
Hey, maybe I could straighten him out.
Oh, now, Casey, don't start one of your Boy Scout acts.
Walter will put him in a cab, Casey.
Well, what happens after he's put out of the cab? I'm going over there.
I don't want to go home. Now, look here, mister.
I'll take care of him, Walter.
What? You know this guy, Casey?
Sure. Remember me, Artie?
Sure. You're a cop, ain't you?
No. I'm no cop. But you know, it wouldn't be good if a cop saw you right now. A guy on parole is supposed to behave himself.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just celebrating something. Something awful funny that's happened. You never guess a funny thing that's happened.
Now, suppose I run you home, huh? You tell me about it on the way.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell anybody. But you can read about it in the papers tomorrow.
Okay, but let me take you home anyway.
You can read it in the papers. Hey, say, you work on a paper. I remember you now. You're Casey.
That's right.
Casey, good old Casey. How about you drink that?
No. Wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
We'll have one later. You got a bottle at home, Artie?
Sure, I got a bottle at home.
That's fine. Suppose you take me there and we'll have a talk about old times, huh?
I'd like to talk tonight. I'd like to talk.
Where are you living?
Buckingham Apartments. It's 6th Street, number 614. 614.
614. All right, that's fine. Well, let's go then. Come on.
You're not just trying to get me out of here.
Of course not. Come on, pal. Come on.
Okay. The funniest thing happened tonight, Casey. The funniest thing.
get him into his apartment.
What'd he do? Give you the number before he
Yeah,
left?
2B, second floor. All right, here goes.
Hey, you're not going to carry him.
It's the only way he can be moved.
But this is a walk-up place, Casey. This is the stairs.
Oh, poor guy isn't heavy. Open the door for me, will you?
Oh, all right, sure. I'd better come along and help you with the apartment door, too.
Yeah, if you don't mind, honey.
Gee, it's an awful cheap-looking place.
Well, guys don't usually come out of prison heavy with dough.
Well, I wonder what's he living on?
Dixie Trumbull, the songwriter, was always Artie's closest pal. Imagine Dixie's putting him up for... He hasn't been on the chips lately either. Here we are. It's 2B.
You have to go through his pockets and find the key.
Yeah, I'll prop him up right here.
Funniest thing happened tonight.
Hey, he's snapping out of it, Casey.
Funniest thing.
Uh-oh. Passed out again. I wonder where he carries his key. Annie.
Huh?
Look at this.
Automatic pistol.
This was in his pocket. Chump's just out of jail on parole. He's toting a gat.
Uh-oh. This doesn't look good, Casey.
Looks lousy. Hey, Annie. Yeah? This gun was fired not long ago.
Fired?
Yeah, smell it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let's look at the clip.
Yeah.
One cartridge missing.
What do you think?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Funniest thing happened tonight.
There, I found his key. Here, Annie, unlock the door, will you?
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to snap this guy out of his daze and ask him a few questions. All right, switch on the lights.
Oh, yeah. Here we are. How are you going to make him talk?
There. You find some coffee in that kitchenette, will you, Annie, while I hold this guy up?
Yeah.
Make a pot of triple strength while you're doing it. I'll be ducking this guy in a cold bath.
Okay.
All right, now, Artie. You come into this bathroom. Get those clothes off you.
Funniest thing happened tonight.
Yeah. Maybe it won't seem so funny after you hit this cold water.
Oh, look at how he...
Hey, Artie.
Go on, Casey. Don't push my head under. Again, you're freezing.
All right, Artie. Okay. I think you're on the sober side now. Come on, get out of the tub, put on your clothes. Come out.
Yeah.
Lady's making some hot coffee.
Lady?
Yeah, a friend of mine. Oh. I'll leave you alone now. Don't be long. Because I want to have considerable talk with you.
Talk? What about?
Stay to your health. Get dressed and hurry.
Is he okay, Casey?
He knows what's going on around him now, anyway.
Did he tell you anything?
I haven't mentioned the gun. Let's have another look at that thing. Foreign make. 29.5 caliber.
There's a pearl grip on it. It looks like a woman's gun.
Yeah. Hey, it's funny. Phil Blaney was killed with a fancy little gat like this.
You mean the man Maddox went to jail for
Yes. The bullet they took out of his head was a 29.5. I remember because it's an unusual caliber for pistol ammunition.
Oh?
See, in this country, we standardize pretty much on 22s, 25s, and 32s. Like the cartridge Logan handed me today, 38s and 45s.
Okay.
What?
Someone's trying the outside door.
Yeah. Who's there?
Open up. We're police.
Police?
Open up, Maddox, and we'll blast our way in.
Hey, that's Sergeant Flanagan's voice.
It's the last warning, Maddox.
Hold everything, Flanagan. I'll let you in.
Casey, what are you doing here?
Mind if I ask you the same question?
We've come to arrest Maddox for murder, that's all.
Murder?
Who?
Gypsy Hibbert.
Gypsy?
Yeah. She was killed about 2 hours ago in her apartment. Now then, where's Maddox?
Why do you think Maddox had anything to do with it?
He was seen leaving the building she lives in. She was shot with the same kind of gat that killed Blaney 5 years ago. A 29.5 automatic.
Hey, Casey,
let me do the talking, Annie.
The only talk I want to hear right now is the answer to, where's Maddox?
He's here, Flanagan.
Where?
In the bathroom. There.
Uh-huh. All right, bring him out, Sam. I'll cover you with my gun.
Right, Sarge.
Hey, Casey, he killed that woman with a gun.
Maybe not, Ann. Maybe not. Don't mention that gun. Not in the bathroom, Sarge. He's gone.
What? Hey, that open window.
He must have swung under the fire escape and got away.
Casey, you're to blame for him getting away.
I am.
You stalled me here while he was going out that window.
I wasn't stalling you.
We'll see what Captain Logan thinks about it. You know, you've got me in a jam, pal.
Well, I'll make Logan see you weren't to blame. Where is he?
At the late Gypsy Hibbert's apartment. trying to find out just what happened there.
Well, let's go. I want to find out what happened at the late Gypsy Hibbard's apartment, too.
Mother's Day has become a fine American tradition, and many Americans make it a point to show their appreciation of Mother's role as homemaker by sending her bright flowers and also practical gifts, useful items to lessen her work and increase her enjoyment. And that's why a complete set of Fire King oven glass is so appropriate. As an experienced homemaker, she'll tell you how much better food tastes when baked in Fire King oven glass, and how tempting is the appetizing, clean look as the piping hot food is brought to the table. And as for cutting down her housework, well, Fire King oven glass cuts dishwashing time by a full 2/3. For you bake, serve, and reheat food in the same casserole or baking dish. Fire King oven glass has a beautiful pale blue color which adds charm to any table. Every piece is guaranteed for 2 years against oven breakage. Now, you'll find complete sets at your favorite chain, variety, hardware, or department store. The ideal gift for Mother's Day or any day. Fire King oven glass is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
That's why we were in Artie Maddox's apartment, Logan. That's all we know about him.
When you undressed him before you stuck him in a cold tub, Casey, he didn't run across a gun in his clothes.
I wasn't looking for a gun. Now, suppose you give Ann and me the lowdown on this shooting, pal.
Well, a guy called up headquarters. Wouldn't give his name, but he told us to pick up Lou Carboni and ask him why he'd just killed his ex-wife.
Ask Lou Carboni why he killed Gypsy Hibbard.
Yeah. So 2 of my men went to Carboni's home. They found him playing poker with 3 guys who said he hadn't left the house all evening. At the same time he was being checked, I came here to Gypsy Hibbard's apartment. Got the super to let me in and found her lying on the living room floor with a .29.5 slug in her head.
And somebody told you they'd seen Artie Maddox leaving the building.
Yeah, the superintendent. And checking the time he saw Maddox leave with the medical examiner's finding, the woman must have been shot just a few minutes before.
Have you any idea who made that call to headquarters, Captain?
Oh, I think Maddox made it. He killed Gypsy Hibbard because she married another guy, Lou Carboni, after Maddox took the rap for her in that Blaney shooting. Maddox hated Carboni, too, for getting the gal he wanted, so he tries to frame Carboni for the murder he's just committed himself.
You know, Carboni wasn't on good terms with his ex-wife.
He wasn't seen near this building tonight. Maddox was.
A real murderer would take good care not to be involved.
Yeah?
Sergeant Flanagan, Captain.
Come in, Sergeant.
Carboni wants to know if he can go now, sir.
Carboni's here?
Yeah, I was questioning him in the kitchen before you arrived. I'll talk to him, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. Captain wants you, Mr. Carboni.
Captain, it's so late. I wonder...
Carboni, you can go home now, but don't leave there without letting me know where I can reach you.
Very well.
Hello, Carboni.
Oh. Hello, Casey. Sergeant Flanagan tells me you helped the murderer of my ex-wife make his escape tonight.
I don't believe Flanagan told you that.
That I didn't, Casey. All I said was...
Now, don't take me seriously. I was only kidding.
Doesn't seem like a good time for kidding. You're in a spot, Carboni.
What do you mean by that?
Can't you figure it?
Why, you...
Never mind. Go on home, Carboni. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Perhaps you'd better tell Casey about my alibi, Captain.
He has told me.
It's a very good one. Good night.
Well, Andy and I'll be running along too, Logan. It's our bad luck this case had to break too late for a morning paper.
That is tough, isn't it? And I expect to have Art Maddox under arrest long before your next edition, so the afternoon sheets will get first crack at that news, too.
Where do you expect to find Maddox?
There's a general alarm out. We'll pick him up. Say, you used to know him pretty well. Maybe you have an idea where he'd hide out.
I didn't even know where he lived until after I ran into him at the Blue Note tonight. Come on, Annie.
Casey.
Let's go, kid. Good night, Logan.
All right.
Casey, you suppressed evidence. And you didn't tell Logan about that gun you found.
You were swell, kid. You didn't tell him either. There's the outside door.
But we've got to tell him.
Otherwise, we're accessories.
We won't bother with the elevator, Annie. Let's walk down.
We're not leaving until you give that gun to Logan.
Well, yes, we are. Come on.
No.
Give him the gun later. After I have a talk with Maddox.
Talk with... You know where he'd find it?
I think so. Which makes another little item I've suppressed.
Why?
Well, let's call it a hunch, Annie. I have a feeling that if the cops find Artie before I do, if they have that gun that seems to clinch his guilt, he hasn't got a chance. And he didn't shoot Gypsy Hibbert any more than he killed Phil Blaney.
You think Carboni did it?
What I'm thinking of now is locating Maddox.
Well, where are you going to look for him?
Well, he needs a friend tonight. Dependable friend. His closest pal is that songwriter, Dixie Trumbull. All right, we're heading for Dixie's place.
I ain't set eyes on Artie for 2-3 days, Casey. On the level, he ain't here.
Oh, listen, Dixie. Miss Williams and I want to help the guy. He needs help. Don't give me a wrong steer.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, and I got no idea where Artie is. It's okay, Dixie.
Hello, Artie.
Why, you said not to let anyone know you were here. Casey's my friend.
Yes. This should convince you of that, fella.
Oh, the gun. I figured you'd found it on me.
And Casey didn't tell the police about it.
I'll take the shells out of it. Put it here on this table until you tell me what to do with it.
What does the gap mean, Artie, and what's the stuff about cops? I haven't told you, Dixie, because the less you know, the less trouble you'll have. I'll go out and take a walk for half an hour. Please, Dixie. Okay, pal. Guess you've got a good reason for asking. I have. That's all I need to know. See you later. I can't have him mixed up in this case. He's too grand a guy. This apartment of his was the only place I knew of to go after I ducked out that bathroom window. I spent 5 years in prison. I can't go back there. I heard the cop say he was looking for me. I lost my head.
What were you doing at Gypsy Hibbert's tonight?
You don't think I killed her?
I'd have given the cops that gun if I had. I told them to look for you here. Come on, let's have the lowdown.
Okay. You know, I was crazy about Gypsy before.
Yes, I know.
Before? Yeah. Well, after I came out of jail, she wouldn't see me or even talk to me over the phone. Last night, I made up my mind I'd see her. I had to. Then, it was funny.
It's the funny part we want to hear about.
Well, I sneaked up to her apartment. A guy in the stairs showed me how to pick locks, and I sat in the dark waiting for her to come home. Finally, the outside door was opened with a key. It was Lou Carboni.
Carboni?
Yes, he sat down in the next room and waited in the dark. Then the door opened again. It was Gypsy this time. He told her why he'd come to kill her. Then I watched him do it.
You watched
Why
him?
did Carboni kill her?
It was funny, Casey. It was so funny I couldn't raise a hand to stop him.
Come on, hold on to yourself, buddy. What did he say to her?
She had been blackmailing him, threatening to tell the cops it was really Carboni who killed Blaney.
Carboni killed Blaney?
And I had taken the rap because Gypsy told me she had killed Blaney. She was protecting Carboni's end at my expense. Then she married Carboni, and they got to hate each other. And tonight, he killed her while I was there to watch. It wasn't a funny case. It wasn't funny.
Come on, Archie, cut it out. What happened after Carboni shot her? Come on, Archie. Pull out of it. Pull out of it.
He wiped his fingerprints off the gun. He put it in her hand to look as though she'd committed suicide. But he didn't know I was watching. Then he let himself out the back way. I realize now it was a crazy thing to do, but I picked up the gun. I put it in my pocket. I thought he'd spoil his suicide setup. Then I got out of the place. I phoned the cops to pick him up.
Artie, no jury's going to believe the story you've just told us.
I know that. This Carboni's not going to be free and alive while I pay for another murder he's committed.
What do you mean?
I got another gun before I came to Dixie's. You see, I'm going to kill Lou Carboni.
Artie, give me that gun.
Keep back, Casey. I'm going to kill Carboni today before the cops can find me.
Don't be a fool.
You've just said no jury will believe my story.
Give me that gun.
Keep back.
You won't shoot me.
Not to kill you. I'll let you have it.
He will shoot Casey. Look out.
Okay, honey.
Now, you two get into this clothes closet. I'm sorry, but this is the way it's got to be.
It's a foolish way, Artie.
It's the only way.
No! Let me go! Casey!
Give me back this gun. Not a chance. I never figured you for a killer, Artie. You're not going to louse me up by shooting Carbone or anybody else.
Thanks. Casey. Drop the gun you just took from him, Casey. Drop it.
Carbone. There's nothing else I can do, Toto.
Thanks. Now all of you move back against that wall. You see, Maddox? Like Casey, I figured you'd hide out with Dixie Trumbull.
Why did you come here?
That gun I planted beside my late wife's body wasn't found there. And I leave nothing to chance. When your bodies are found, Casey, it'll be thought that Maddox killed you and this lady before committing suicide.
Same old gag. The gun to be found in Artie's hand. Same as you met that one on the table to be found in Gypsy's.
It's always a good gag before a jury. And I'll use the gun on that table, the one that killed my former wife. Then there'll be no doubt that you did all the shooting, Maddox.
You keep quiet, Artie.
He'd better. Sweet little gun, this 29.5 automatic. Always liked these imported gats. Well, you take the first slug from it, Casey. What's wrong?
That 29.5 isn't loaded, Carbone. The shells are in my pocket.
Give them to me.
You can't hold your other gun and load the automatic, too.
You can load it. With its barrel pointed at Miss Williams. If you make a single phony move.
All right. I know when I'm licked.
Take the gun. Put a shell in its chamber first.
Okay.
Now load the clip.
This suit you.
Hold the gun by the barrel and slide the clip in.
Now what?
Put the gun on the table. Don't get your finger near the trigger.
There.
Nice little guns. Those 29.5s. Get ready to take it, Casey.
Okay. I got you and the lady into this case.
You'll get the second slug, Maddox. Then Miss Williams. Casey? So long.
With that shell, Carbone, so long to you.
The gun blew up.
Yes, it exploded right in his face.
Right in his face. Wasn't it funny? Wasn't it funny?
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. Last week, we told you about a sensational announcement from anchor Hocking, which was to be made on the air tonight. However, we're obliged to postpone this exciting announcement until next Thursday, so be sure to tune in Crime Photographer 1 week from tonight. Now, meanwhile, surveys show that a vast majority of women prefer to buy foods packed in crystal clear glass. They give dozens of different reasons, but practically all say they prefer glass because it lets them see exactly what they buy before they buy it. Of the hundreds of young mothers questioned about baby food containers, 8 out of 9 say they not only prefer, but insist on prepared baby foods packed in glass. And their most important reasons are that glass is cleaner and more sanitary, and that leftovers can be resealed and safely stored in the original container. Now, you too can enjoy these advantages in buying foods. Simply demand foods packed in glass, in Anchor glass containers, sealed by tamper-proof Anchor vacuum caps. Both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Well, the explanation, of course, is very simple, Ethelbert. You see, I forced the .32 caliber cartridge Logan gave me yesterday into the chamber of that .29.5 caliber automatic. And it wouldn't pass through a barrel that was too small by 2.5 hundredths of an inch. You remember Ethelbert, that inventor's machine gun that blew up because the shells were too large?
Yeah.
The explosion didn't kill Carbone, huh?
No. He'll live to go to the chair. And as for Artie Maddox, well, the criminal record he never deserved is being wiped off the books. So he'll just live again.
Funny, wasn't it?
Yeah. Funny.
Very funny.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass. Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. The part of Maddox was played by Lawson Zerby, and Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. If you're under 35 and are a high school graduate, you may be able to qualify for a nursing career. As the need for nurses is urgent, check with your local hospital on how to apply for training. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Hey, Ethelbert, you ever take a word association test?
I don't think so. How's it go?
Oh, it's simple. Look, I give you a word and you answer immediately with a word that comes into your mind, see?
Okay, try me.
All right, red.
Blue.
Boy.
Girl.
Run.
Walk.
Bottle.
Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole. Our adventure for tonight, Pickup. 9:00 in the evening, the Blue Note Cafe. Ethelbert, the head bartender, is chatting with a customer, a tall, thin, white-haired man with a gentle face, when he hears a familiar voice.
Hi, Ethelbert.
Huh? Oh, good evening, Casey. Excuse me, will you, Mr. Hutchins?
Sure, Ethelbert.
I ain't seen you all day, Casey. Where you been?
Oh, I've been busy, pal.
You told me you were on the lobster shift this week, which means you don't start to work till midnight.
Listen, Shut-in, this is spring. Miss Williams and I have spent the day in the park. We've been taking pictures of the birds and the bees.
Where's Miss Williams?
I left her at the office. Hey, look, give me 4 packs of cigarettes, will you? 2 Miss Williams' kind, 2 of mine.
Okay.
Hey, listen, pal, wait a minute.
Huh?
Who's the guy you were talking to when I came in? His face is familiar.
Oh, he's Brett Hutchins, Casey, the horse trainer.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, what's he doing in town? His stable is racing out west right now.
I got an idea he's here looking for the murderer of Cass Marlin.
Yeah?
You know, Cass Marlin was the jockey who got bumped off down in Florida just before he was to ride.
Yeah, of course I know.
Yeah.
Well, did Hutchins say that he was looking for the murderer?
No, I just got the idea because he and Cass were such good friends.
Uh-huh.
All he really said about the killing was what the papers had been saying, that it's still a complete mystery who done it.
Well, it's pretty obvious why it was done. With Cass Marlin in the saddle, Fireball will have won the
Alderstone Trophy race.
I hear the cops have questioned Steve Harold about it. He's supposed to have won a lot of money when Fireball didn't even show.
Well, they've questioned all the big bettors who've been known to fix things when they can. But Captain Logan investigated Steve Harold at the request of the Florida police and found that Steve looked pretty clean for once. Listen, I think I'm going to have a talk with Britt Hutchins. He trained Fireball, and as you say, he and Cass were pretty close.
You won't get any more out of Hutchins than I did, Casey.
That's what you think, pal. Say hello to him, anyway. Hi, Britt. Remember me? Casey, Morning Express.
Casey. Oh, yeah. Hi.
How about same? We've been hearing a lot about the Cass Marlin killing up here. I knew Cass pretty well, so...
If you're going to pump me for inside dope on it, fella, I don't know any. Cass was like a son to me. He worked for me. Set to ride one of my horses. One of my owners, Mr. Ashley's horses, I mean. When somebody put a bullet in his head and... That's the whole story as far as I'm concerned.
I see.
Well, guess I'll be going. Got business to tend to.
Yeah. Okay, Britt. Well, I'll run into you again sometime. So long.
So long, boy.
I'll see you later, Rifleberg.
Going so soon, Casey?
Well, I got to take Miss Williams her cigarette.
Didn't I say you'd get the old brusheroo?
I hate guys who pull the I told you so gag. So long, pal.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Your name's Casey, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Morning Express photographer?
Right again.
Let's take a walk.
Well, say, it's a little sudden, sister. I don't think I know you. Or do I?
You don't.
Well, then what...
Call it a pickup.
Well, I don't go in for pickups.
Well, call it anything you want till we get someplace where we can talk alone. I've got news to sell. You interested?
Always. Okay, where do we go?
Well, there's a little place around the corner, Farley's Tavern. That suits you?
It'll do. But I don't like the place from a social standpoint, sister, so the news you want to sell had better be on the level. Okay, sister, now speak your piece.
After the waiter leaves.
Oh, jittery, huh?
You'd be jittery, too, if you were in my spot.
In a jam?
Afraid of being bumped off, that's all.
Oh, you're beginning to interest me.
Anything else?
No, not now.
Gee, thanks, pal.
All right. Well, he's gone. I'm listening.
How much will your paper pay for the exclusive inside dope on a murder?
That depends on the murder. Some are in the dime a dozen class.
How about the Cass Marlin killing?
Cass Marlin?
Yes.
This is a coincidence.
What's a coincidence?
Well, I was thinking about that shooting when you picked me up, that's all.
The dope on it's worth plenty, isn't it?
The real dope is.
I can give it to you.
Well, I'll have to be sure of that before I go to my city editor and proposition. I can't pay out dough on my own.
If I tell you who I am and how I know about the case, will you promise to keep it under your hat? Whether we make a deal or not?
Yep.
I guess I can trust you. Cass told me you never double-crossed anyone.
Cass told you about me, huh?
Yeah, that's why I looked you up when I hit this town tonight. I phoned your office first, and they said I might find you at the Blue Note Cafe. I was on my way over there when I saw you come out. I recognized you by a picture Cass had.
You must have been a close friend of Cass's.
He was going to marry me.
Yeah? What's your name, sister?
Edith Landau.
Edith Landau. Funny, I've seen most of the police reports on the case, and I've come across no mention of a gal named Edith Landau.
You've heard Cass was getting a divorce, haven't you?
Yeah?
Well, on that account, very few people knew I was his girlfriend. It had to be that way because his wife's lawyers might have made something out of it.
Well, that's a pretty good answer. Well, give me one for this. If you cared enough for the guy to want to marry him, why didn't you go to the cops with this inside information?
You think I'm a phony, don't you?
You might be.
Well, listen, wise guy. I didn't say I cared anything about Cass. I was going to marry him because he was in the big dough. When he died, I saw myself out of his dough. The cops wouldn't pay me a dime for the information I had, and Cass owed me something one way or another. So I decided to cash in with a big newspaper. A bigger one than there is down in Florida. Yours. Is that straight enough for you?
Too straight to like very well.
I don't care what you think of me. I've got a story to sell. But you've got to act quick. I can't keep it bottled up any longer, even for dough, because the killer knows I'm onto him and he's after me. Now, any more questions?
Only the one for the big prize. Who's the killer?
I'll tell you that when I see money. $10,000.
$10,000?
My story's worth it, and papers like yours can pay it.
I've always wanted to see my city editor drop dead. He will when he hears that figure. So come on, I'll take you over to him.
No. Nobody must know anything about my part in this till the killers are all behind bars.
It was killer before, now it's plural.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's more than one man mixed up in this. And I'll tell you something else to prove that I'm on the level. The cop theories are all wrong. They think Cass was killed so he couldn't ride Fireball, but...
What's the matter?
That big guy just walked up to the bar. He knows me.
Yeah, I know him.
And you know who he works for?
Yeah. Steve Harold.
Look, I gotta get out of here quick. Mr. Casey, don't let him follow me. Stall him, hold him by force if you have to till I get away. Promise me you will.
This is an act, sister.
I swear it isn't. You say you know who that man is.
Okay, I'll hold him.
And lend me $5.
Lend you?
I haven't got enough for cab fare, and I've got to get away fast and far, please.
Well, I've always been a sap. Here's a thin.
Thanks. Look, I'll phone you at your office in an hour and tell you where to meet me, where it'll be safe. And don't let Denver Lane follow me. I'm going. Goodbye.
Hi, Denver.
Oh, Casey. Noticed your gal friend left in quite a hurry.
Yeah. Had to run for a bus. You know her, Denver?
Never saw her before. Not a bad-looking bimbo. Who is she?
Well, just a pick-up I made.
Didn't know you went in for pickup.
I have my moments.
Cigarette, Casey?
Yeah, thanks. You, no hurry to leave here?
Why should I be? I just come in.
Yeah, Denver, I have my moments.
With that story, you let her take you for $5, Casey?
Well, Annie, the act she put on was pretty solid. And she had me hooked when she pulled a big scared act about Denver Lane. You know, the guy's a gunman and he works for Steve Harold, who's up to his neck in the racing racket. For a moment, the parts all seemed to fit.
Until Denver made no attempt to follow your little chum.
He stayed in the joint for half an hour, and then he walked over here to the Express building with me.
In the rain?
Yeah, that's one break I got tonight anyway. We were within 10 feet of where my car was parked when it started, so I just reached in and got my raincoat. Denver got soaked.
Well, put the raincoat on again. Let's go over to the Blue Note.
Yeah, I see enough of this photographer's room when I'm on duty. It's over an hour now since Edith Landau said she'd phone me in an hour, so...
Have you been waiting here thinking that she might phone you?
Well, Annie, her act was almost too good for a $5 take. Well, that's when I start being a sap, I keep it up, I guess. Come on, let's go.
Casey!
Hello, Moocher.
Are you a guy I'm glad to see?
Now listen, Moocher, I'm short on dough
Who
today,
wants
so...
dough? You don't start on the job till midnight, do you?
No.
Swell. You won't need your car till then.
My car?
Mine just had to be towed to the shop, and now City Desk has given me an assignment out in the sticks. Give me your keys, pal.
No. The last time you borrowed my car...
Could I help it about them two fenders?
Well, you could have paid to have them fixed.
Miss Williams, I leave it to you. Shouldn't us press photographers stick together and help each other out?
Nuts with that stuff, now.
Oh, I admit Casey's a better button pusher than I am. He's a genius. The only one of his kind.
Look here.
Which is all the more reason why he should give me succor in my hour of need. Casey, can a master like you let down a bum like me?
Yes.
Don't say that. No.
Oh, come on, give him the car keys, Casey. You know he'll get them if he has to cry real tears.
Oh, I guess you're right, Annie. All right, take them, Mooch.
My pal. My beloved colleague.
Get out.
Nay. I tarry for one further little favor.
Oh, my.
Yes, the weather is inclement, and I came to work without my raincoat.
All right, take mine.
My friend in need. And a perfect fit. My undying gratitude, Monsieur. And can you spare a cigarette?
Oh, that too. All right, here's half a pack and a book of matches. Now get out before I commit a little mayhem.
I go, master. I do thou's bidding. Goodbye, Miss Williams. Fair lady. Farewell.
He's really a character, Casey.
Oh, some character. You wouldn't think so if he was in your department. As I said before, when I start being a sap, Annie,
there's your desk phone.
Yeah, it might be that Edith.
As you said before.
Yeah. Hello, Casey speaking. Oh, city desk. Listen, Burke, I don't go on duty till 12, so I'm not going to take any assignments now. Well, of course I'll let you talk. Who's stopping you? Oh? Murder, huh? Strangled in a vacant lot. Sounds good. Yeah, I got the address, yeah.
Here we go again.
Any details? Identification found on the button. What? What's that name again? Yes, we'll grab a cab and get out there right away.
Hey, what is it, Casey?
That dame, Edith Landau, was murdered about 15 minutes after she left me.
Our story will continue in just a moment. It's here.
It's here.
The Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle for beer and ale.
You pay no deposit.
You don't have to return it to the store.
It holds a full 12 ounces.
A full 12 ounces, just like an ordinary beer bottle.
Yet it's so compact it takes up a minimum of space in your refrigerator.
It's perfectly balanced and light as a feather. Easy to handle, easy to pour from. Chills beer quickly, holds the chill longer.
And it's easy to open, safe to open. A flick of your wrist and into your glass pours a golden stream of wholesome American beer, brewed and bottled and served the American way.
In glass.
Yes, in glass. Glass which brings you beer and ale brewery bright. Glass which can't affect taste or flavor. Glass, the sanitary container for beer and ale.
Your favorite beer and ale is on its way to you right now in the new Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle. Another great contribution to convenience and to gracious living and entertaining. The Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle is a product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Look at that body again, Casey. You're sure it's the woman who told you that story?
Definitely. I was sure of it after my first look, Logan.
Captain, her story must have been the truth.
I told you, Annie, I was more than half sold on that story of hers.
And she borrowed that 5-spot to take a cab from Farley's Tavern, huh?
So she said.
Yeah. This place is about 3 miles from Farley's. Now, assuming her story was true, she might have paid off the cab after the first mile or so to save money and started walking. The killer had been following her, and when she came to this block of vacant lots, he hopped out of his car and strangled her.
But Denver Lane was the guy she was afraid of, Logan. And Denver didn't follow her. He was with me at the time she was being strangled.
Yeah, but his boss, Steve Harold, wasn't with you.
Well, you cleared Harold of suspicion in the Cass-Marlin murder, Captain.
No, we didn't clear him, Miss Williams. It was simply impossible to prove he had any part in it.
Hey, Captain Logan.
Yeah, Sergeant?
We just got a message for you on the car radio that Casey.
Huh?
What's the matter?
Stop looking at me as if I was a ghost, Flanagan.
Casey, you're dead.
I'm what?
Well, if you're not, the message that just come in is all cockeyed.
What do you mean?
Headquarters says that Casey's dead body has just been found in the wreck of Casey's car.
Well, mooch your Annie.
Oh, sure, he borrowed your car.
And had an accident.
Accident, nothing. There's 2 bullet holes in the dead guy's head.
Well, the thing's plain enough now, Casey. Denver Lane had spotted that girl before you and she went into Farley.
Yeah, maybe before she picked me up outside the Blue Note, Logan. He had another of Steve Harold's guys with him.
And the other gunman followed Edith Landau and killed her while Denver stuck close to you.
Sure, Miss Williams. Denver figured the Landau dame had given Casey the dope she had on the Marlin murder.
He couldn't risk any rough stuff during our walk to the express building, so he waited outside in a car. And when he saw a guy my size wearing my raincoat come out and get into my car...
The information he thought you had to be suppressed. With you and the dame out of the way, there'd be no evidence.
Now, what are you going to do, Captain?
I'll show you, Miss Williams. Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Get headquarters on your radio and instruct everyone concerned to let no outsider have a close look at the body found in Casey's wrecked car. And tell them to give out information that it's definitely Casey's body.
Yes, sir.
Wait, Sergeant. Yes? Also, I want Denver Lane and Steve Harold brought to headquarters as soon as they can be found and kept in separate rooms. And instruct arresting officers to tell them nothing about anything. That's all.
Right, sir.
I get it, Logan, the old surprise treatment. Huh?
And a big surprise. If Sergeant Flanagan thought you were a ghost, the guys who think they killed you, they just might go to pieces and tell us what we want to know. Steve Harold's cooling off in this room, Casey. Now, I'll go in alone, and you follow when you hear me clear my throat.
Okay, love.
I hope this works.
Oh, it'll work, Miss Williams. You stay here with Casey. Here goes. Hello, Harold.
Oh, good evening, Captain. Good morning, rather. Well, now that you're here, perhaps I'll get some information as to why I've been rudely conducted to this, unglamorous place.
My boys didn't tell you?
No. All they told me was to come along, and naturally, as a law-abiding citizen, I made no resistance despite the invasion of my constitutional rights.
Stop talking like a book.
All right, Captain. But look, none of you cops have anything on me, and I'm definitely in the clear with your homicide bureau, so, what's the big idea?
A girl named Edith Landau was killed tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you've never heard of her, I suppose.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I have.
Really?
Yes. Well, Landau isn't a common name, so I presume it's the same girl I met with Cass Marlin several months before he was killed. He'd fallen rather hard for the little gold digger.
Well, why didn't you tell me about the Landau girl when I questioned you on the Marlin case?
My dear fellow, you didn't ask me. Why do you suppose she was killed tonight?
Because she knew too much about Cass Marlin's murder. And she told what she knew before she died, Steve.
You interest me. By the way, whom did she tell?
A man who also was killed.
Then you're still out on a limb.
Not quite. This man told the story to his newspaper associates before 2 bullets got him in the head.
Their evidence will be only second-hand hearsay. It wouldn't be admitted at a murder trial.
You know your law, don't you, Steve?
I know a little.
Excuse me, I have a little cold.
Hello, Steve. Oh, hello, Casey. Nice to see you, boy. Go on with your story about the man who was killed, Captain. You two chaps look kind of strange. Anything upset you?
Nothing at all, Steve.
No, nothing at all. Denver's the guy who tried to kill you, Casey. He obviously didn't get word to Steve Harold about the things that happened tonight. Now, we worked the gag on Denver now.
All right, all set, pal. It ought to work on Denver.
You say this newspaper guy who was shot spilled the dope he got from the Landau dame?
That's right, Denver.
Well, it's no break for you, Captain. The courts don't accept that kind of third-hand evidence.
You're right again.
Oh, well, only the poor guy was alive.
Yeah. Excuse me, a little cold.
Hello, Denver.
Well, nice to see you again, Casey.
Yeah?
Casey and I had quite a get-together at Farley's place tonight, Captain.
Yeah?
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't spill this on him, but he was in there with the crummiest looking pickup you've ever seen.
Nuts to you and your ideas, Logan.
No, Casey, nuts to you.
Your big act fell flat with both Denver and Steve Harold, huh, Casey?
Yeah, so flat it busted all over the place, Ethelbert.
Well, neither of those men could have thought Casey was dead. Both of them are ice-cold characters, but no guilty person could have taken the shock of his appearance without some giveaway reaction.
Yeah, you think so? They didn't even flicker an eyelash, either one of them.
Maybe they was tipped off in advance that it was really poor Moocher who was shot.
No. Logan went over that angle before we made our play. There's a cop on the scene, kept everybody away from the body. Nobody got close to it at all except other cops. Besides, after 2 heavy-caliber bullets go through a guy's head, Ethelbert, it's sometimes pretty hard to tell who he was.
Maybe the killer knows by now he didn't get you, Casey, so he'll try again.
Oh, that's covered, thank goodness. Captain Logan has assigned 2 bodyguards to Casey.
Yeah. A louse.
That innocent-looking gray-haired man over in the corner is one, and Sergeant Flanagan is hanging around outside.
You know, I just got to find a killer in order to get those guys out of my hair. I can't stand it. Hey.
Yeah?
Annie, I've just remembered something. You know, I've been a dope.
That's a surprising confession.
Look, Edith Landau was about to tell me something when she saw Denver. And then she got scared and stopped cold. She said, wait a minute, let me see.
She said the cops' theories are all wrong. They think Cass was killed so he couldn't ride Fireball. And that's as far as she got.
Well, all the original suspicion of Steve Harold was based on the idea that he didn't want Fireball to win.
Sure. Ethelbert!
Don't bark at me like that, Casey. I'm a nervous guy.
Certainly are. Well, okay, all right, but look, when did Britt Hutchins leave this joint tonight? Tell me that.
Britt Hutchins?
Yes, the horse trainer who was on vacation while his stable is racing out west.
Why, he went out the door right after you did.
And he saw me talking with that girl. He could have seen me going to college with her. He could have followed when she left there alone. He even could have strangled her to death and gotten back to the express building in time to see Moocher get in my car. Then Hutchins could have followed him and thought it was me.
But Hutchins was a friend of Cass Marlin's. He couldn't have...
No. Friendship in a gambling racket seldom goes deeper than the money pocket. And horse trainers should only take vacations when their horses do. Annie, come on.
Where?
We're going to tell Logan to find Hutchins.
Casey.
See you later, Ethelbert.
No, wait for your gray-haired bodyguard, Casey.
Never mind. Those bodyguards can't keep up with me. I'll be very happy. There's a cab, Annie. Hey, taxi!
Oh, Casey!
Annie, got it.
I'm shooting. Oh, you're hit.
Oh, I'm okay.
Oh, no.
Flanagan, get him! Get him!
Got him, Casey. No. Let me go.
Well, hello, Britt. So you were the guy. You missed me again, huh?
No, he didn't miss you. I've got a doctor. There's blood all over Casey's head. He's dying.
Annie, I'll bet you 2 to 1 that for the second time tonight, the report of my death will be greatly exaggerated.
What will you have on your breakfast toast? Orange marmalade where tart and sweet commingle, or blackberry jam evoking memories of that cool early morning walk through the woods? Apple butter fragrant as an autumn orchard? The ruby flash of currant jelly or strawberry jam? But why choose only one? Serve them all. Grace the breakfast table with a symphony of delicious taste and luscious color. Stir up appetites. Start the morning right. Supply quick energy for an active day. Yes, brighten up the breakfast toast with preserves, jellies, and jams brought to you by those packers of the finest foods, the preserve industry of America. Now, naturally, these experienced packers bring you preserves packed in glass. Clean, sanitary glass safeguards wholesomeness and flavor. Crystal clear glass provides a rainbow of color on your table. Anchor glass containers and modern Anchor Hocking sealing methods bring you flavor at its peak. Anchor glass containers and Anchor caps are both products of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
You feel okay now, Casey?
No, sure, Ethelbert. That bullet only grazed my forehead.
Yeah, well, if it struck you only a half an inch deeper.
Well, as Britt Hutchins will tell you, Annie, many a horse has lost the race by half an inch. And I think, as a matter of fact, this bandage is very becoming. So was the little hospital nurse who put it on.
It isn't, and she wasn't.
Annie, you shouldn't be like that, not to an invalid.
Tell me, Casey, what did Hutchins have to say when they got him down to headquarters?
Well, he confessed that he killed Marlin because his jockey friend had double-crossed him.
That was a hard one.
You see, he made Cass Marlin a little proposition.
Cass was to ride Corn Popper and lose.
Yeah.
Corn Popper?
Yeah. Well, that was the last horse Cass rode before he died. Corn Popper was a comparatively unimportant horse, Ethelbert, in a comparatively unimportant quarter-mile race. So attention was centered on Fireball in the big Alderstone Trophy.
Well, to cut off the alibis, Ethelbert, instead of riding Corn Popper to lose, as he promised Hutchins, Cass Marlin brought him in first. And Hutchins lost every dollar he'd been able to beg, borrow, or steal. So his feelings were hurt, and he killed Marlin.
Cass had told his gal about the play, and she witnessed the shooting, so Hutchins had to get her, too.
And when he finally caught up with her, she was being confidential with Casey. Well, you know the rest.
Yeah, you better be careful about making pickups from now on, Casey.
I'll say he had.
Oh, I don't know. I have my moments.
Yeah, but like my sister Edna says, quote, you can never tell when one moment's going to be the next.
Oh, no.
Yeah, unquote.
Crime Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King oven glass, Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Crime Photographer is directed by John Deep. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town. So stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.